one of the founding maps here for Valorant as a whole. So both of these teams should be pretty comfortable on it. And then what I'm going to be excited to see, and hopefully we get to see it, is Ascent, right? Because that kind of is the most honest tactical shooter map. So if you get that deep into something, and if you don't really have the officials behind you as a team, at the very least for that what's going on squad, they will be able to kind of fall back on the fundamentals, fall back on what they know in tactical shooters. And one of the players, Timmy, coming over from Apex, just being an absolute demon over there, I think that kind of adds that special edge, right? We see a lot of players coming over from different games that aren't the tactical shooters, and then you have interesting ways or unique ways to use that utility. So I think there's also going to be some of that going on, but obviously Breeze is a very hard one to tackle in map 1.
Yeah, I think this is one of the strongholds for EZ5. I know we recently casted like a 60-round game of them up against the Knights. I feel like they bring a lot of creativity into this map. They've tried out a lot of different comps. It's really a map where Konpeki gets to do Konpeki things. For those of you not familiar with him, I think he played for a while in CSGO as well, but he's just been a really, really strong opper. One of those Jets who can just frag completely out of his mind and really go crazy. I think that this is one that definitely leans towards EZ5, although it's really hard to say what the good maps are for what's going on, because I don't think even they know, right? Like it's a pug. They probably have their favorite maps in ranked that they like to play. They probably have the ones that they hate, but you really kind of, if you're this squad, just gotta focus inward, right? Don't stress about who your opponent is. I'm sure they're not, because it's all players who are very familiar with competition, but they just gotta chill out, do their best, play their maps, and just have fun with it, man, because the goal is get some content, have some fun with it, get back into the vibe of competing. Whereas for EZ5, I think there's a good bit of pressure for them, because there's a lot of eyes on this, right? It's SHROUD. It's some big names here. If EZ5 as a still unsigned team can do this, they can kind of keep rising up in people's minds, as they have been consistently over this last month as this really insane unsigned roster. So I'm going to say it. I think I'd probably predict EZ5 to come out on top here, but I think it's going to be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, and I think Breeze is going to be the best place to get started, because like you said, the mentality coming into this one, it's really one of two ways. It's EZ5 saying, well, we are the team that's been playing together, we should beat these guys. Or it's, wow, we maybe we looked up to these guys at one point, we watched them play on some of the big stages, and now we're playing against them, so it could be shaky. But we get to see which of the mentalities EZ5 is going to be rocking it coming into this one, as we jump into the agent select for Breeze, and it's Konpeki immediately locking in that Jet.
Yeah, Pancakes as well, hopping on his Reyna. He'll oftentimes play that comm. I'd imagine that's just a troll on the Yoru. Normally not going to be playing that role. But talking on over about what's going on. Timmy on the Jet, I love it, right? Like, I've watched some of his streams in Apex. This guy is just like a pure raw aimer. And I think that in Valorant, for him, he can just focus on his aim, focus on fragging out, especially on a map like Breeze that is so wide open. There's lots of opportunities to just get your aggression rolling, get things a bit puggy, and try and make something happen. As the rest of the picks start to roll on in, SHROUD looking at that Viper, Sean already locked on the Sage. I think this is a bit of a switch. I believe after I glance, I think it was SHROUD playing the Sage in that previous match. So obviously it's a new map. They're just playing what they're comfortable with. Whereas for EZ5, it's starting to look like they're fairly normal comp, besides the people that are just still hovering around trying to do something a bit fun.
Yeah, calm on the sky is insane. The amount of space, the amount of aggression that Calm's been able to take with that agent alone, finding first bloods. If you go back and you look at some of the match histories for this player alone, I would imagine in these officials, you're seeing a lot of multi-kills, a lot of first blood. So Calm, definitely another player to look at for this EZ5 squad here on Breeze. And you talked about the kind of the change in where everybody's playing. SHROUD playing the Sage previously. I mean, we heard it in the interview with Ian, right? Breeze is obviously a very uncomfortable place to be as a whole, because it's a new map and people are still trying to figure it out. Even teams that, practice and scrim every day are still working on ways to figure out Breeze. So you have the flexibility in your agent pool for the players on the side of what's going on, and you just play what's comfortable, but also what's necessary here on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a player that's a little bit less familiar for some folks is Lasky, but he was really a strong player in my eyes in Counter-Strike. He played on a lot of kind of puggier teams. He was with Swole Patrol for a while. I know that, I forget which team it was with, but he won Fragadelphia 13 on LAN, was able to take that one home. He's been a guy who maybe, he's never really been signed to a big org, but he's always just been an incredibly strong, consistent player. I mean, he's been playing with the likes of Brax or Swag. All sorts of fantastic players have been on squads with him. So I expect him to do well here in the server today and well, here in Valorant. But without further ado, Agent Select is done and dusted. It's game 1. It's a best of 3. It's what's going on up against ez5.
And nothing really too outlandish here at the beginning. ez5 starting on the attack. We see that toxic screen, going across mid. Or what's going on. So it's going to slow things down if they look to push out that way. And it's the Viper, not necessarily solo holding, but you do have Lasky out towards tunnels, just making sure that mid isn't the place to be. And on a pistol round, I mean, a very slow default. ez5 really just trying to find a strong read against this WGO squad.
I bet they are. Full rotation being made here. Maybe back in towards A. They're still just trying to look for some aggression to come forward, but Calm still has that flash to work with Wall, so yet to be committed. So this gives lots of options in way of the execution, but for WGO, they actually have a lot of space to work with here. You saw that Wall come up in towards the hall, so that saved that off for a moment, but now that has fallen. With a minute on the clock, this looks like some sort of a split.
We're slowly getting there, as it was Campecchi who took a bit of damage earlier, did receive that healing orb, and more damage traded out, this time on a pancake. So a couple of players that have since been topped off, or could be, should an orb come on through. And 30 seconds on the clock. The site hasn't been taken just yet, as Calm and Campecchi are able to hop on the board. Calm continues to be a thorn in the side as that door closes. The two remaining in a Shroud and Lasky stuck out towards bridge, and well, it took a while to get there here in the pistol, but a flawless round for ez5.
I really like this from ez5, right? They're just taking it slow, taking that temperature check for a moment, and not letting things get ahead of them. They found out that that Sage is playing towards long with the wall, and as soon as Sean's wall dropped, they just started that walk up. They had a wall of their own that completely split the defenders. They really had to retake in from bridge, and with WGO completely stuck towards that side of the map, that got interesting. But got a good buy up here out at ez5 in the second round. What's the O coming from?
Sorry, there was 5 Bulldogs at one point, and that is just such a crazy buy to me. You usually see 1 or 2, but now with 3 coming through, yeah, Bulldog supremacy. But it also tells you that that bonus round is going to be that much stronger, whereas Decop sells down to just that go. So maybe an operator online here early in this one, or just looking to force up another rifle in that bonus, right, to just help back up those 3 Bulldogs that they've got. So this one alone gonna be a tough round for what's going on, as they're still stuck on the pistols. Looks like it's only Relics who really forced up anything. No real utility to work with either in this one, so it should go the way of ez5. But it's the damage game, it's the buddy system game. It's playing together and looking to strip away some of these weapons here for what's going on.
And they have a lot of space to do that with. You see this Viper wall out towards mid. That's actually allowed the walk up in towards elbow, but that's never really going to be tested. Again, for ez5, they're wrapping back towards this A site. No one is directly holding towards pyramids, so it'll likely fall down to this retake. But look at it, Timmy. So much space garnered. This will call for the rotations out of what's going on. And if the timing is right, this flank could go massive.
You can see what ez5 are doing here very early in this, right? They're trying to make what's going on make the play, get impatient, because they're not that team that plays together all the time, that has a set play. The Shroud able to find 1, but 2 already picked up on the side of ez5, make it 3. Now Relics and Shroud try and get something done, and the Bulldogs just continue to take bites out of this WGO roster. Now Shroud, the last one standing, only finding 1 kill on the round, and they're going to leave it at that. Campecchi with 2 to close things out, and ez5 with their second.
Yeah, ez5, they're a team for me where I can never really like pin them down at loving one specific pace, right? Like the way they call, especially when it's a team that they have no chance to prep for, it starts very, very slow. Conditioning to try and force that aggression out of WGO, being ready to find impact off of it. And I mean, in that round, they weren't even really holding for the pushes. WGO, it was completely pushed up down mid. It was it's Timmy to find that information. ez5 just had a stronger post flank. They always knew that a flank was a potential, so they were holding on for it. Now, with this bonus round, like you mentioned, it is pretty strong. Decop has invested into that rifle, but Lasky, good spot here to try and hold it down. The Viper wall will block him for the moment. Play forward, though, doesn't work out whatsoever. Calm to start things off. And this is such a wide split. Campecchi walked up deep towards halls.
Decop heard is still able to find the frag no matter. Sean goes down to be able to trade one back. Oh, Shroud picks one up as well. So a 3v3 is where we find ourselves. But this is the bonus round for ez5. This is the round that they're okay to let go if that is the case. Relics hops on the board as well. So it's all up to Pancakes and Decop. We're playing together inside the tubes. They've had that mid push into mid nest. Now they kind of have a handful of options, right? You can look to wrap behind or head right back towards your spawn for free and look to try again. Two players playing on the A site for what's going on. So if ez5 head that way, it will be a 2v2, and it looks like I'm going to try the former in that B site.
They will. Pretty long rotation, but still plenty of time to work with 30 seconds on the clock. It's really going to be Shroud's job to lock down, try and deny this plant, but it's also the option to just hold back, play the retake together. He is still stuck in towards Archers, and his orb actually perfectly timed here. They're going to be forced to fight straight through it.
And that Lear is too far away to actually get the near side onto Shroud, so he misses out on the shot. Well, only for a moment. The ball doesn't lie. Shroud finishes what he started on Pancakes, leaving it just up to Decop. Very healthy on the Sage. Now cutting it down to a 1v1 situation, but only 4 seconds. I don't know if that was in time. Decop for the plant runs out of time. And that is how what's going on get on the board. The kills swing the way of ez5, but 2-1 the scoreline.
Yeah, man, I mean, that's still a good outcome for ez5, right? They bring it down to nobody left. The money's going to be pretty poor for WGO, but we got to give some credit to Shroud in this round. Playing on the other side of the Viper wall, waiting for that to fall, and then being the sole anchor towards his site. If he doesn't find that shot on Pancakes, Spike goes down way earlier.
Yeah.
This retake, it's so much more difficult. Just a bit of a misplay on the timing for Decop, but at the end of the day, it's a 50-50. You can't really blame the guy for that round slipping away from him. It's now ez5. They have an operator in the hands of Kentucky, and we know how dangerous he can be with this weapon.
He goes wide on the first shot, unfortunately. Trying to find Timmy, who's only got the Marshall in this one. And I mean, the buy's not great, but after that round win, WGO were able to muster up something. At the very least, a couple of Bulldogs, a couple of Guardians, and the scope weapon in the Marshall as the drone spots out 3, pushing on. Relics nearsighted from the Seeker, tosses out a shock. Not going to find the value just yet. Through the toxic screen, the spray will go. The nose to go, not going to land for Timmy. Pancake finds the first, bounces away. Relics on top of the wall, peeking over the barrier orb. He's able to get it back, but Decop is there for the trade. The spike has since been planted. A resurrection has since been used. Now in a 3v5 situation, what's going on? Have to figure out what is going on here on the retake.
Well, that they do. Kentucky, though, great shot from him. Comes forward. This really changes the tide. Unless Pancakes can find it. Pits down. Lasky now cutting it down to a 1 versus 2, but time so heavily against him. Kentucky swung forward. Wide shot misses, and the tag connects. Now he's just dashing forward. Classic in hand, and somehow Kentucky off the wide swing shuts it all down. ez5, it comes close, but they'll pull back with their third.
That's a tough round. It gets even more difficult to kind of stomach on the side of WGO because that Viper's Pit goes down and you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a play. And well, Shroud has to back away instead of pushing forward into the pit while it expands, and Pancakes is just in the perfect place at the perfect time. So it was a hindered by for what's going on. They don't pull away with the round. It's ez5 instead to kind of break up the streak. They were looking to get going. Now back to pistols.
Here.
ez5 on a full buy. The op shot goes wide. This is uncharacteristic of Campecchi to start the last 2 rounds. Missing those first shots, that could be punished here in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, it really could be. Or ez5, though. They're back to this very slow pace, and have a Shroud in a great spot. Campecchi, so crisp. Clears the angle, shuts it down. Timmy is still down below vent, but he's swinging forward. Decop ready for it. Dash is good to keep him alive, but it's another little piece of information. Now the spike still not committed anywhere. WGO, they're really being forced to make a play here, and ez5 is doing things properly. Not giving too much away. However, the timing on this is a passive. Relic's pushed up, but he's caught off guard.
And really no damage found across the board with these pistols. Even I guess you have a couple of members where you can get a 1-shot, 1 kill with that Sheriff for Timmy. But you pushed out, you didn't find a whole lot, which is kind of the name of the game. And, well, it's a classic, actually, for Sean. That's going to find a frag and make this one less than a flawless for ez5, although they should be able to win the round fairly simply. That spike goes down. What's going on? Has nothing to lose. And pushing on over. And the weapon down in such a bad spot. So there's just no way to pick that up. As Lasky, the next one to fall. It's all up to Timmy. Not only try and do some damage, but just send it onto the sights to forfeit the round and go again with rifles.
Yeah, we talk a lot when we were speaking about ez5 of the dynamic duo between Pancakes and Konpeki, because I think they can both do both duelist roles on their respective characters, right? They can be that backed up flank watch lurk kind of play, and they can also be the hyper aggro space taking. Oftentimes, I think most recently we cast him on Breeze, it was more Pancakes, falling back towards spawn, holding onto those flanks, getting it locked down. But in this one, it's Konpeki. I love teams that have that duality, that if someone's not feeling it, they can switch up the roles easily. And it's clearly working well for them because Konpeki was able to shut down that flank with the operator. It's very clean anti-eco. But now we do get to see WGO back up on the weapons. Relics is stuck in towards a lesser gun. Oh, but it does update. Was managing to grab up onto that Phantom. So full weaponry to work with. But that operator is still in Konpeki's hands. And he's claimed a ton of space towards mid.
And Breeze, ooh, shots to the wall from Timmy land. They finally finish off the kill. So Pancakes punished just a bit, and there was no way for a refrag. So what's going on? Up a player now by possibly spotting out Konpeki with the operatives. I know another player out towards mid. Not going to look to take that fight. Instead, Timmy is hiding underneath the pipe. So no free kills the way of Konpeki. And I mean, Breeze is such a welcoming map for the operator. But even then on the attacking side, sometimes it's kind of interesting to see. But I think it lets you know where Konpeki and ez5 are at right now. The confidence that they have to just continue to give this op over to the Jet. You know, usually on the attacking side, you want everybody on rifles looking to get things done, but that's not the case.
Oh, that timing. That sucks for Konpeki. Nearly had the shot there, but does elude him. Now this wall goes up. Lasky on the case, spots out one. Utility exchange, but look at this time, 30 seconds. They really have to commit. There's a crossfire between Lasky and Shroud, but that's getting dismantled. Shroud has to get it done. And it's Konpeki again, sight fully under the command of ez5. And for WGO, they're very late to the party on this rotation. Flank is underway. That could find impact late round, but look how far ez5 is extended. They're not giving an inch.
No, not at all. They're gonna, as soon as you push through to see the site, you're gonna be right in the face of somebody for the fight. Recon Bolt goes through. Shot gonna go wide, so Relics lives for a moment longer. Unfortunately, can't say the same for Sean as they push through the arches. It's all up to the two out towards mid. And we might just be seeing a save here. Too tough to take the fight. What's going on? Gonna look to contain. First to contact is Calm, caught with the guiding light in hand, and well, damage dealt. The round is going to swing the way of ez5, but what more can they find on the way out as Relics continues to jump swing? Gucci able to strip away the fourth member here, WGO, of their weapon. Timmy, the last one to stay alive. The only one with the Phantom remaining as ez5 find their fifth.
This mid control is proven really rough for WGO. I'd love to see them try and get an op online for its Timmy, but thus far the economy really has not allowed it. This crossfire could have gone so huge, but Lasky overpeaks it just a tad. The contact play goes awry, and then it's just isolated duels. ez5 able to win out on both those 3v1s, and I love how ez5 plays that post flank, right? They know there's a flank factor, so they extend out towards arches. They have that late orb to hold that position towards half wall. They're just able to shut it down nice and easy. Another eco here for WGO. The Timmy actually buying up onto the rifle there. An interesting force. This time it's a bit faster from ez5 out towards the B site.
Taking this way faster. You talked about the conditioning, and I think one of the biggest things that you get, although many, but between, you know, competitive ranked games and your officials is the timing and the spacing in the rounds, right? So you see everything going really slow. They're trying to force WGO to kind of play their game, the slow pace, and catch them off guard. And then they flip the switch immediately, start to go quick, and we're starting to see the fruits of the labor. Pancakes, Konpeki continuing to duel. Pancake's gonna pick up another one. They're trying to match 2K for 2K, but instead it's 3 for the Reyna, 1 for Calm, 1 for Konpeki. Go into the next round 6-1.
Yeah, and that hero rifle I was talking about, I had forgotten, but that was the one that Timmy managed to save over from the previous round. The reason that it got me mixed up is because he had his Blade Storm online, right? Like, I feel like the play is to throw that rifle over to someone else, use the blades for Timmy, and try and get it done that way, but nothing really came out of this round. That weapon was committed forward, so were all these players, and it was just the shooting gallery for ez5. Now we do get to see a bit of a change. It's Timmy on the op. Hopefully he can get something a bit better done for this WGO roster. It's actually the double up. SHROUD has one as well out towards the A site. This setup, we haven't seen it a lot on Breeze, but with so many wide open angles, it can be very powerful.
And I guess Kempeki is not missing shots when it matters, but it every time we see it, it feels so strange that he is missing shots. So maybe a little bit of jitters here in map 1. As I said, it's the shots that matter that he's been able to land. Put the wall up inside of Tube. We haven't seen a whole lot of play there. Well, now we are getting quite a bit. As a snake bite won't take you all the way down. A second one will, though. And John needs to back away and put in a tough spot as Gucci able to find that frag. There's 3 players up towards the Tube. They open things wide up as they cut WGO down a player.
Tough death early on. It's a double up setup, so if this falls to a retake, it's very, very hard. Maybe not going to be able to find a line out over this wall. He does have the blade storms to work with as well, but I feel like you almost save early here because it's double up retaking a Viper's pit. So much pressure on Relics to get something done early, and it's just not going to happen.
It's Gucci again to find his second on the round. And the operator, it's a solid weapon. It gets a whole lot harder to use, though. When that Viper's pit comes out, you're just taking random shots through it, hoping that you can find something. And well, with 2 of them, it really only leaves Lasky to try and spray through to get some chip damage. Calm. Unable to find the penetration. Decob will eventually fall, but Pancakes is there to trade. So it's 1 operator down as Lasky and SHROUD back away again. Containment. Now the protocol here for what's going on.
What? What is going on? Did the server just die? Okay, well,
yeah.
Maybe that's what's going on.
Okay.
The server dying is what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, well,
what's going on?
I'm sure we'll get this fixed as soon as possible. Interesting little floating gun here out of Lasky. He'll probably be hopping back on over to our faces, but we can pull back to the game at hand there. Looking rough. The double up setup not working. You really had no one anchoring in towards main. I feel like you have to have someone take an aggressive line towards cave there, or else that Viper wall just comes up. It's a free site, and ops not that great on the retake.
Yeah, and so it's hard because hindsight's 2020 going into that round. But with the 2 ops, I also think you're probably in a pretty good spot to maybe not have one on your Viper, solo hold out towards B, and then your 2 player also be an operator. You have Relics kind of hanging out in the area. It's Sean up. And again, like I say, hindsight's 2020 because that round only looked bad because Sean put the wall up. They put 3 players on the side of ez5 through there. Slow orb, 2 snake bites. They ended up getting the frag. So it didn't go their way. And obviously, taking a look back at that one and say, well, yeah, that wasn't the right play. But you wouldn't have known that going into the next. So what I would love to see if they are going to continue to run the operator or the double op is put one in Tube. That's a pretty solid way to lock down Tube as a whole, especially when you're proficient with the operator. You can play that op out towards A. And then your Viper utility really feels like enough to slow teams down, at least coming from B main, to where you don't necessarily have to win every, or I guess frag out on everybody, all 5 players with the operators out towards that side. So I think Tube and A main is probably where we leave it with the operators, but I guess we'll see eventually when we get back in how things kind of adjust on the defense for what's going on.
Yeah, we will have to see, but you know, while we have you guys waiting, we might as well pull up our Credit Karma Instant Karma replay. There's already been some great plays in this map, so let's take a peek at what has been picked out for us, and it looks like it's Sean here, yeah.
So this was that play, and now I guess looking back at this one, maybe would have survived because the first one only did a little bit of damage. The second one landed for sure and maybe wouldn't have had to move, but now he's pushed into 2 Molotovs. But again, that's solid utility usage and you see the outcome from it.
Yeah, just the feeling of instant karma there. I mean, ez5 is showing their coordination, right? These guys are not a pug stack. These guys are not a strangers to the competition. They've been playing together for a while now. They have been grinding out tournaments. I know in that previous series, we talked to Ian about the impact of playing in all those NSG Opens, all those Knights tournaments coming up to this one. And it's the same for ez5. They play everything, man. And the growth that we've seen relatively quickly for this squad is really showing that.
I think the only time that we've seen ez5 start to take a quote-unquote break is because they've already locked their spot for summer champs, and they maybe haven't played in one of the opens or something of the sort. So outside of that, you know, you kind of reward yourself saying, yeah, we're set, we're good to go, we have our spot for summer champs, let's take a break. And then they're playing everything else, like you said, outside of that. And what I love to see is kind of the duality of, you know, what is officials and what is competitives. When you have a team that is playing and everything, and then you have a team that's kind of slapped together with really good players, and it sometimes doesn't work. Because it sounds like we're getting ready to get back into the game. That was I've never ever witnessed something like that happening, so it was an interesting one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe like a KO knife hit the servers or something. I don't know. Things got a little awry, but we're hopping back into things now. It's a save round for WGO off of the last loss there with the double up. The hunt was really strong from ez5, so that's completely shut down. As ez5 just looking to keep things up. Timmy, though, blades down mid, could find himself some impact.
Okay, so yeah, and I guess that kind of taking the stock of what happened, you still have that one weapon on Lasky. So although it was interesting, I wonder if Calm got to keep his weapon too there at the end. Either way, it's a hero rifle. Marshall not going to find anything just yet. Sheriff, knives, and a classic for Shroud. Not all three of those weapons, but that is also what is on the table next to the couple of hero rifles. And again, a slow start. Some early aggression, though, in Pancakes. This is what you can expect from this player constantly on the arena. Just playing the lurk, whether it be up through tube, across the map, just being a thorn in your side. Timmy maybe having some connection issues there. Unfortunate way to go down, but it's Pancakes net in a second. And what's going on? Slowly starting to let this one slip away. That hero rifle going to get a bit of value, but with the clock ticking down, we might just see Lasky go for another save, and Relics and Shroud gonna just send it into the side. It looks like Shroud kind of bringing up the rear here.
He picked up a weapon, won't be able to hold on to that one. Relics likely just dishing out damage. I don't think Relics is in the server either. It looks like he's, oh no, he's still here. Back into the game and back onto the floor. Calm to shut that one down. Lasky does save onto the weapon, so it's something for WGO, but this scoreline, it's really starting to look rough. I don't think we're fully fleshed out on how attacker or defender sided this map is, but this defensive side, you gotta at least be getting like 4 or 5 rounds to be able to make something work. They need to turn this shit back into their favor. I would honestly love to see attack pause. I don't think they have a coach, so they have this technical pause to work with, so that's basically the same exact thing. So now WGO have this moment to chat things through, figure out their issues, and try and fix it up, because they've got to do so pretty quickly, because ez5, the confidence is clearly flowing. They're clearly looking good.
Yeah, and they have an idea of how to play against a team like this, right? Where you have strong players that you do need to be wary of, but at the end of the day, you are the better team in terms of competitive integrity and playing together. So it does really feel like they've got this what's going on team figured out, and they know exactly how to play into it. And I love the back and forth, like we were talking about a few rounds ago, where it's fast, it's slow. They have a lurker one round, they don't have a lurker the next. The lurker's been changing up, like you pointed out. Kempeki and Pancakes kind of picking up that role through and through in the mid-round calling. So they've kind of got the full spectrum, which is exactly why we say if this is not the best unsigned team, it is right up there, probably a close tie. I know Virtuoso's had some pretty solid showings recently, but it does look like technical pause has finished. Hopefully we can get things underway and look to close this one out smoothly. And as you said, Mimi, 8-4, still a possibility. With rifles in hand, it's Timmy again to go in with the operator. We'll see how much value the Jet can get. Yeah,
really a lot of weight on his shoulders here to find some impact and hopefully be able to stay in the server for this entire round. Lasky pushed up off this Viper wall. It's good positioning to be found, but ez5 is still completely cut in way of noise. They have no way of knowing Lasky is on the other side, and same can't be said of him. Shroud is anchoring, but I think he's tucked right now, not holding for main control, so information could go about. This is suspiciously everyone
is holding. Everyone is holding. The clock is holding. Mimi and I are holding. Here's some quick shots. Okay, things getting wonky. Shroud gonna find the first. Oh, Shroud gonna find 3. It's unfortunate that we missed it there. It's Lasky still on the flank, so always being a pain here. Decop gonna have to keep presence. Kentucky on the side, operator in hand. Decop gonna go for the res. Nobody gonna push that one, so it's a free life here for Gucci's. Relics goes wide on the shot. Shroud will eventually fall, so the Rainbow men die.
One enemy remaining.
Tops on the board. 6 are alive, 6 are looking to fall, and what's going on? Have figured it out.
Yeah, that they have. I'm not sure where Shroud found those kills, but regardless, they needed a hero play, and Shroud is able to deliver that in dividends. Now, for this what's going on roster, it's clear that kind of, not tactical, the technical pauses were helping them just a little bit, right? You had that second to think through your mistakes, you found your new solution, and that was in a change setups in towards this B site, as well as that kind of player that was flanking towards the elbow. They always had a crunch for that main hit, and it worked wonders. 2 more rounds left in the half, and the thing is, ez5's economy is still looking fantastic. They'll be able to buy out these last 2 rounds, really no matter what. Looks like we might have another pause. Not sure still the full nature of that. We'll know as soon as you guys know what might be going on with the service.
Yeah, there's sometimes a voice in our head that tells us things as to what's next, what's going on, and
maybe you're just schizophrenic.
okay,
I don't know.
I'm speaking for myself. Apparently.
Nah, just kidding. But they have the double op out again. It's Timmy, Shroud, both working on that. Shroud does have a pit, which makes me interested to see him pulling out that operator, because I feel like if you just plop that pit down towards A main, it gets you so much denial. ez5, through most of the games we've watched of them, they don't tend to be a squad who likes to disrespect those pits, but who knows, anything is possible with these rosters. Back on in the beautiful flyovers of Breeze. I mean, and if it wasn't for all like the constant shooting going on and all the battles going on, this would be a nice place to hang out.
Yeah, it would be. I would have to agree with you on that one. You've got, the docks. You can go fishing. You see some people have been going fishing. I'm not a huge fan of sand. It's just keep me away from it. I will go to the beach, but I may not have a good time doing it. I'm sitting on a towel the entire time because it just gets everywhere. It just gets everywhere. On your hands, all over your arms, your legs, your armpits, and it's I don't know. I don't know how people do it, but I guess.
Have you ever been to one of those beaches? It's like the wider rocks. Like I know there's some like up north more so, like by the Great Lakes and stuff. I'm sure there's ones on the ocean as well, but it's like bigger, like flat rocks, so you can kind of walk out into the ocean. It's a little tough on your feet, but no sand, no issues, just water. Although with Breeze, like imagine you're like walking around. I'm kind of recentering on the game a little bit, but you're walking around on this map all the time. Like imagine these agents got to get sand in their shoes, man. That's gotta suck.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and you hear the sand sloshing around. It's noisy, it's moving, and it dependent, right? We're summertime where I'm at, and I live in Arizona, so it is hot, which means that sand also gets incredibly hot. But at least we have right here next to the pyramids, we got that water just waiting right around ankle level to kind of cool you off, maybe splash your face. And I don't know how sanitary it is. It looks clear, so maybe it's recycling. But yeah, Breeze is a nice place. Now, I will say that there are probably a handful of people who don't like Breeze as a map. And to you, I say, you just got to play it more. You just got to play it more, right? Did Icebox not grow on everyone?
It's my favorite map now.
Yeah, exactly. It grew on everyone. So you just got to keep running it on Breeze, and eventually you'll figure it out. It's not okay to not like it because you're not good on it. And you're not good on it because you're not playing it. That's what's happening. Not you specifically, but just people in general,
Get good. Tanner Metro 2021. One of the best quotes to come out. I wonder where we're gonna go next in way of maps, because I feel like we're probably due for another map sometime soon here. We got like Icebox, that's ice. We got like the summertime. We've got kind of bind, like there's always like the little like special gimmick for every map, which I think makes them so fun. Like what could they even pull out in way of something creative and new?
I am hoping for a map in the sky, maybe.
Ooh.
Like cool. Like kind of like what the practice range is, something of the sort where there's like nothing underneath it. Maybe I guess
Ascent like that? Yeah,
Ascent is kind of like that. So I'm basically just describing Ascent. So Ascent 2, where we I got nothing. You could tell that this is why I'm the play-by-play guy, the peanut brain, not very creative, and that's why you're the creative color caster, goes deep into things and then figures it out, because I got nothing.
Well, now that's like a lot of pressure on me to try and think of a artistic idea for a new map. I don't even know. Like, what if there was something that like maps that like moving platforms? I think that would be kind of cool. Like you could hit a button and it would
Okay.
like slide across something, but it would be like a void. So like you get across with like an Omen TP or a Jet Dash or something creative. I don't know. I feel like that would be cool.
So you could get across, or you have to wait for the platform to take you
slide.
across.
Yeah.
If you're not one of those agents who could. Okay, that would be interesting. Okay, now imagine one of those platforms with a sage wall on it, and periodically when it swings across the map, you just see Sage on top of her wall, like on this platform, this conveyor that's kind of going across. That would be
It could be like a
that'd be
factory
interesting.
theme.
Okay, I mean, and we just did have the robot agent come
Yeah.
on through, so maybe that's where the Mimi. Whoa.
Right.
Okay, now
right.
that
I
now
know
that
we're like
kinda,
doing this
it's
casting, but
snowballing.
if you wanna hire me, like my Twitter DMs
It's
are open.
snowballing because that could be like the factory where the KO and the practice range bots were all created. So you're kind of
Oh.
seeing those around. Mimi, we're on to something here.
I think it would almost like, do you remember like the old Mario levels, like the Bowser's Castle kind of thing, where it's like the lava pits like down below and the sliding platform. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking of. But it's like 3D
Okay.
and you can like fully play it out. My one thing is I feel like the skybox would be closed, right? Because it would be like inside a factory. So that might limit lineups. Because like every single Valorant map thus far has had like a very, very open skybox to allow the creative lineup stuff. So I wonder how they'd work around. Maybe make it like an abandoned factory, like no longer active, similar to kind of the vibe of Breeze. I don't know.
I think that would add. I guess when I think lineups, for whatever reason, I specifically think about Sova, although all of the agents have it. But I think that would add to some cool, like we kind of see, the whole trick shot 2 bouncing with Sova. If
Yeah.
you had that skybox where you're always stuck, kind of like A on Icebox, but maybe not as high. So you could still stick stuff to the ceiling and get value out of it, but then also bounce it around the room, kind of crazy, and hope to get that trick shot call. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I don't know. Maybe it's like everything that we're saying, people who actually develop the maps, like, yeah, that's a pretty silly idea. And let me tell you why that wouldn't work.
Yeah, sorry
crushing
if
our
you're
dreams.
a map dev having to listen to us
Yeah.
back at home, but I don't know. I just want there to be more maps in the pool because I feel like we're finally getting to a point where like map bans are actually like punishing, right? Like it used to be like you could just have a perma ban and it was no big deal, right? But now if you have a perma ban, like if you have to ban Breeze every time, you get forced into a tough spot with your picks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean to kind of just piggyback off that, I feel like I'm always bringing this up, but I guess I say piggyback, but kind of enforce, right? Whereas before it was you're choosing where you're going because 2 maps are banned and only 3 maps are left. Whereas now, like you said, you kind of have some choice and you can play around a bit more, and that gets deeper and deeper and deeper as more maps come through. What I thought was actually going to happen here, and unfortunately we didn't get to see it, but with no map pools to kind of pick from for what's going on outside of the 2 maps that they played in the first one. As more maps come out, you can start to then just heavily target your opponent, right? You try and, unfortunately, Split is banned away. I believe it was ez5 who banned Split, and that's their worst map, which the next worst, I think, might be Haven. So we will see that one eventually once we get back online. Yeah, as more maps come out, it could be less of, all right, less of focusing on, my maps as a team, but how can we punish your maps as a team? I think that's what we're seeing a lot of in Breeze too. Whereas Icebox, it took a long time to finally get it figured out because teams are kind of just avoiding it. And Breeze is kind of the same way, where we see ez5 pick into this one because it's like there's no way this team with SHROUD, Lasky, Relics, there's no way they're super prepped on Breeze, right?
Yeah. Okay, this is a total aside, but now I'm wondering because like all these agent names are like they're like somewhat reasonable names. Kind of depends. Do you think it'll ever be like someone's kid who's like named after? Like I feel like it'd be kind of sick to have like a kid name. I know you're a dad. Like thoughts? If you had to, okay, wait. I'm gonna reframe the question specifically. If you had to name your kid after one of the agents in Valorant, who would you? What name would you take?
If I had to name my child after a Valorant agent that's in the game now, well, okay, so I have a boy.
So say you were gonna rename your son.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we have to run it by mom. So we'll have to go through the rigmarole there to run it through there. But I don't even know. I think Sage, if for a girl. So if I could in this fantasy world that we're playing, if instead of having a son, I
whatever
had a
kid.
daughter, Sage would be a solid one.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that idea. I'm trying to think personally. I feel like Reina would be kind of a cool name.
Okay,
Or-
yeah.
Like I feel like that would be kind of sick. Like it feels very like classy, kind of elegant. I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting. We'll spare you guys the Mimi Tanner podcast for a moment. Not quite sure what the issue is. We'll keep you guys updated as soon as we can. But in the interim, we're gonna head to a quick break.
Show me what you got. Back that up, back that up. 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 Back that up, back that up.
money in the bank. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break, bang to the break, bang to the break, bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, and you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank, 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 bank. Got the money in the bank.
Hit you with the 808.
Hit you with the Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break, bang to the break, bang to the break, bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, and you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank.
A short break during the technical difficulties to try and figure out what exactly was happening, and unfortunately it sounds like one of the servers went kaput, so we are looking to swap over to a new one. Now in the meantime, as we get that match medicked, we have a bit of downtime until then, and Mimi, I guess we're figuring until we get that match ready for you guys, we can talk about what we saw on Breeze. I believe we're 10 or 11 rounds in.
Something like that. It's been a good game thus far. Lots of back and forth towards the late game, but it was an early streak from ez5. Double up setup never really working out. As we glance back at these replays, I mean, ez5, they started off with that statement, right? Flawless pistol round. They buy on up in the second, and then they're just playing this really slow default. And I think that what's going on, they really struggled to play around that, right? The pacing was so slow. They were trying to make these more aggressive plays, and it just never was really working in towards their favor. But definitely still a chance for them to pull things back, as we're just waiting to kind of get the latter half of this first half underway.
And so I believe an 8-2 scoreline when we had to take another technical pause to try and get things figured out. So that's where we should be jumping. Oh, okay. So we're actually jumping back a bit before that. So we started seeing the issues. A round kind of ended, and then the next round went okay. Then we got the issues again. So it sounds like we're going to go back to a 6-1 scoreline, which I guess bodes okay for what's going on. Obviously, they can still shoot for a 6-6 half, but at the end of the day, it's all about trying to be fair. And I would imagine both teams have agreed on the next servers to play in and the scoreline coming back into the match medic game. I think one of the coolest things to see from ez5, and we talked about this during, but it was the conditioning, right? They really understand how to play against this what's going on team, who is a team full of 5 strong members that doesn't have the most competitive integrity as that 5, right? They've obviously they have their own accolades, but coming into this one, ez5 have really been able to kind of condition to play how they want to play. They've been kind of forcing what's going on to make a play, and that's where errors start. And it's also been a struggle with the economy, which I guess happens when you're down 6-1 or 8-2 at one point. The economy kind of becomes an issue. When we were jumping back into this one, and it might be the 6-1 round where we saw this, but what we've seen from what's going on to try and respond has been double operator. And that we already kind of had our talks about that. But it's interesting to kind of think about maybe that is the end all be all or the stop for ez5. I'm wondering if that double op continues on the defensive side for what's going on.
Yeah, well, we will have to see how things pan forward. Our admins are currently working on getting that match back to the point it needs to be. Well, we're in a bit of wait. I suppose we can talk about what else has been going on the other streams. There's, of course, that ! Streams command. Lots of other games being streamed over on the Observer side of things. But TSM was taken to triple OT against 303 Esports, who I really know none of these players, right? Like, it's a pretty unknown squad, and they took TSM that far. TSM did pull it out in the first map, but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's tough. That it really feels bad, especially because the stigma, I guess, that comes behind being a very large organization is that you have to just be running the show all the time, or else you just get criticized heavily. So there isn't really a grace period for TSM to try and figure out, what pieces are missing and what pieces they need. So it kind of just stings. Everything, even in victory, right? That still kind of looks bad. And that's unfortunate. I said it, I believe it was in the pre-show that I used to have TSM wallpaper. I used to be a big fan. So now kind of looking back at this where I'm a bit more broad and more of a fan of Valorant than any team specifically, it does sting to see that, whether it be TSM or Cloud9 Blue when they were floundering a little bit. You never want to see those large organizations start to kind of crumble because of everything that comes behind it. And on the inverse, you love to see the teams that are beating them doing well, right? When it is the tier 2 teams coming in and taking down some of these Titans. So it's a love-hate, right? It's a give-take in this situation like that.
Yeah, that it is. I'm trying to see if there's been anything else super interesting going on. It looks like there hasn't really been any huge upsets just yet. TSM, of course, being brought close. Andbox, they're already into the round of 32. They're kind of going for speed here with that 2-0 over Organic Gaming. As well as, I'm trying to glance around. I don't think anything too crazy is happening just yet. Dark Zero on their side of the bracket, they're doing well. I think that's what we expect. Dark Zero, they made kind of that miracle run, right? It reminds me of back when they were DHBK or the Kooky Koalas. They made it into close. They just barely fell short before they could make it in this time, but they beat out FaZe in that run. It's a team that I'm very excited about. I think Kohler has flown out, so all 5 of them are playing in boot camp as well. I think that, I don't even know if I want to call them a dark horse anymore, but they're one of the teams I'm definitely watching going into this one.
And so this is very exciting for, I guess, you and I are pretty hands-on for this scene, but for Game Changers, right, we typically see the Game Changers team only playing Game Changers. Shopify Rebellion has since started to branch out, and they actually picked up their matchup in the round of 128 in 2-0 fashion. So they're playing against Renegades, who are Titans in the scene, but that is just like any team, right? Getting the competitive experience is kind of that first step, and it also gets the fear that might be there, right? Whatever the fears may be, you just put yourself in the situation and eventually it'll start to go away. So really cool to see Shopify start to continue to claw forward. And when it comes to that, the other team on the opposite side of that bracket specifically is YFP taking on Positive Mental Attitude, so PMA. And YFP is the team, that I'm expecting to make it into the round of 16 to beat out Shopify Rebellion or Renegades. The tier 2 scene, right? We're getting a good look at one here specifically in ez5, but as a whole is really starting to get spicy. The gap is closing. I think I said it back in stage 2, right? We're getting to see the gap closing. We're seeing Handbox, BBG taking series and maps off of Sentinels. But now we're really starting to see the wide spectrum, the whole spectrum. The gap is starting to close. It's really cool to see.
Oh, what's interesting, YFP's actually playing with Reformed. You may remember him back when he was playing with KP on, or excuse me, jeez, I just had that completely flipped in my mind because Reformed is a team and a player. Wow. But regardless of that one, brain goes burr. But we are still waiting for that match medic to come forward. For those of you that might just be joining us, we were a bit into EZ5 versus their opponent in way of what's going on. And it is a 6-1 scoreline that we are returning to. Server issues had this delay coming. We will be getting you guys back in as soon as we possibly can. We don't like the delays just as much as you guys don't like them.
Yeah, this is cool. There's some screenshots of the match medic in the Discord, and it's kind of cool to see. They're taking, as the round started, it looks like credits, weapons, frags, deaths, assists, whatever it is, the KDA, it all seems to be kind of going back to the same spot. So that's actually cool. That's, I believe, my first look at something like that, and it's awesome to have a tool like that for situations like this, because it's the internet and you never know what's going to happen, right? It just sometimes it just doesn't work. As far as teams that I want to give some love to as well, Carpe Noctem taking on Built by Gamers. Love the Carpe Noctem guys. I hope they're doing well over there, because I know BBG, they've been struggling. They got something to figure out. And Anbox, she talked about them previously. That's Anbox with Dwifo. So that team actually looking a bit leveled up. I know that was just rumors a few days ago. Now with Dwifo playing on the roster, it's good. I think you kind of have, it could go one way or it could go the other. It could completely explode in their face, or Dwifo could actually be a huge step up. And I mean, they've made quick work 2-0-2-0, like you said. So pretty solid across the board. Now I've got in one of these note cards here in front of me, maybe I lost it. I've got top 16 or round of 16 matchups. I'm just going to run down a couple of these. So I have in my notes, Sonics versus EZ5. Mimi, who do you think takes that one?
Sonics 2-1. I think EZ5 takes the map.
Okay. Now, FaZe Immortals. Now, this is just speculation. We're not there yet, but this is what I'm thinking. These are kind of my
That's a tougher one for me. Because both these teams have kind of, I feel like they had their big moments and now they're floundering a little bit. FaZe with Marv though was looking a little bit better in my opinion. They did lose out to DZ, but I think I gotta put stock into FaZe there. I think it's gonna be another close series. So who knows? I mean, our IMT, they're playing with Truo in this one as well, which is a bit new for them. Yeah, it's Gangsta, Shot Up, Chemicals, Jonah P, and Truo. So super stacked roster. My question is just, have they found that kind of secret sauce? Have they gelled together enough? Because the FaZe, when we watched them, I think versus Carpe Noctem, they were looking really strong there. Or excuse me, it wasn't versus Carpe Noctem. It was versus DZ. It looked like they were slotting in well. The series didn't go into their favor, but it still was an improvement, right? Like Mame coming into that jet op role was looking better for them. What am I, Mame? Bro, my Tanner, these tech pauses are just absolutely deleting my brain, man. What is going on? So, all right. Well, sometimes my point still stands. Be like that. So my point still stands that I don't think that's that is IMT's series.
No, yeah, and so I thought Baby J was slotting in really well.
That's the name I was looking for. There it is.
Yeah, it's kind of the, I want to say the shining star in the series that we did get to see against Dark Zero. And I love that. A lot of people were kind of questioning the Dark Zero versus FaZe and it being the stream matchup. And then we just get such a beautiful matchup between the two teams. Yeah. Because we see kind of FaZe on the decline, trying to figure things out, adding a new player in Baby J. And then we see Dark Zero recently signed. You got 4 players playing together at the time. So the energy, the hype is just through. You get fist bumps at LAN inside the Dark Zero facility. So that was a really fun matchup. Now I'm going to give you my bottom 2 down here so we don't have to go through all of them, but I've got Complexity and Cloud9 Blue is what I'm expecting. What do you think about that one?
I don't think Colt's taking him out there. I think Cloud9 Blue, they stuttered a little bit. They had some issues. I think they're going to clean it up for this event.
Hey, this is also a Cloud9 that is playing with Poise as well. Yeah. So that was, I mean, basically the same. So it's Zeppa in still, Floppy out, and with Poise in, they were number 3, right? If there was 3 NA teams going to Iceland, Cloud9 Blue would have been number 3. Yeah. So having Poise back in the roster, I do think also levels it up. And okay, so this one is 2 teams that have just been a little all over the place, but I'm expecting them to at the very least make it to the round of 16 to play each other. NRG and Luminosity.
That's this one I think is especially weird for me because it's NRG coming in with their new roster. They really had a rough one in that previous, but it's TechCU, Som, Android, We Did. Like, think about those names. Every single player there is recognizable. Every single player there is huge. I think NRG should be winning that series on paper, but I don't know if it's going to happen in actuality. They have had a couple weeks since that first open to clean things up, but so have Luminosity, right? Like, they have a similar roster that they did before in way of Dre, Dazzle, a Proto, Ban, Tig. Dazzle, of course, coming in pretty recently there. I still think that that should be NRG's series, but, I mean, Luminosity, they've proved to us in the past that they're very strong at the upset.
Yeah, that one to me was because we saw a lot of. It was kind of just like you had 4 or 5 teams maybe that you could count on in North America for 1 point. And it's kind of the teams that we're seeing and still counting on, right? V1 kind of made their way into the discussion, but the Sentinels, the 100 Thieves, the Envies, stuff like that. LG was up there, Immortals was up there. Everybody was kind of having their high moments.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of started, or I don't want to say everybody started to trickle down, but the gap really started to grow. And those teams were, you know, the Anboxes, the Energies, the LGs that were doing well, just not well enough. And the TSMs, the T1s, they're all starting to come on down. So with the recent shortcomings of NRG, which is one of the teams that has competed in some of the most recent open tournaments for Nerd Street. So they're just also trying to get their licks. And I think that goes to show how important that is to kind of have that experience, especially with a brand new roster. But you get to stop, listen to us talk about something that you maybe don't care about. We're getting ready to jump back into the game. The match medic has finished, and here we go. Breeze, ez5, what's going on? 6-1 the score line. Okay, and it looks like this is what we see here might be a little crazy. I don't know if the overlay was ready for the match medic just yet, because everybody's on pistol.
Yeah, well, even if the overlay is lying, you can still kind of see through the wall. I think that's Timmy with an operator. I can see on the silhouette, and it's a pretty heavy setup here in towards the A site. 3 players from WGO ready to get this going, and it looks like they're going to lean towards some aggression. This is what I wanted to see from them earlier. It felt very passive, just wasn't working. Now they get their chance to go in fast.
And I think this was the double operator round where they had one over here, and unfortunately it's going to be stripped away. Decop able to find something, make it 3 on the round. Everybody falls. The A side opens up, and ez5 just right back to it, Mimi.
That they are, and with the HUD now back to full strength, we can see that Konpeki is actually holding a line here up towards Halls. He has his rotation completely caught off, so if Lasky even wants to give a try at this, he'll likely be caught off guard. And for WGO, I think the call here is definitely safe. Shroud seems to agree. He's still very, very deep towards that B site. But Decop in on the hunt. Now he's looking for the ace. 4 frags already, Tanner. And it's him versus Shroud. Shroud really needing to hold on to this operator, or else the money's going to be tough. And he'll do it thus far, except the frag does deny the ace. But ez5, they are some bloodhounds, and they're hot on his trail.
Yeah, I mean, we jumped back a couple of rounds from where we were, but ez5, I mean, they just go right back to it. Konpeki able to strip that operator away. So both ops down. The rest of the weapons obviously on as well, but a very heavy investment for what's going on. It all falls by the wayside. 7-1 the scoreline. I mean, Decop to open things up just couldn't miss.
Yeah, he really could not. This is why ez5 is such a strong team, because we talk a lot about Konpeki. Talk a lot about Pancakes, but then you remember that you have Decop on this squad. You remember that you have Calm, you have Pancake. Like, everyone is so incredibly strong and has their individual pop-off moment. And I love that for Decop because he's calling for the squad. He's the IGL. He's also entry fragging on the Sage. Like, it's just a good look. It's a confident look. And I feel like with this very long break, there's a chance that ez5 would lose steam, but this proves me otherwise, right? They're very quick to get right back into the action, but this is an interesting setup here. Timmy boosted by that wall, really anchoring down mid, but ez5's not really committing for that space. They're holding deep. Konpeki looking for some aggression with his operator.
Going back to that slow play style again, it's the conditioning. One round it's fast, the next one it's slow, and maybe you catch what's going on, getting a little too antsy, trying to swing some of the angles that they shouldn't be right into your defaults. Pancakes continues to hold this angle. Wall goes up, and it allows for some free passage Although it was Shroud's wall, so maybe not what you were hoping to get done with that one. Decop gonna put the barrier orb up. A different type of wall. It does get shot down, but so does Lasky as a slow orb. Traded back and forth, and a collateral through the toxic screen. Kempeki picks up 2.
This guy just does not miss. They're trying desperately to push forward, but they're just getting obliterated. Relics finds Calm, but Gucci has the one-tap. ez5. They are just feeling it. 8-1. Now that scoreline as we start to head towards the later part of this half. WGO, they've really put so much stake into these operators, but have we even seen them find an opening pit? They haven't recently whatsoever, and I don't know. I'd love to see this aggression be working for them, but ez5 is just not putting anything into its mid control, so it doesn't really buy them anything besides a little bit of info.
Yeah, and so I was thinking when we come back from this is they go back to the double operator, but gonna be one out towards A. Gonna be forced away. Seekers, shining light, toss out towards the side. Scott's gonna go wide, but the dash allows Timmy to make it away with 70 health as the Viper's pit goes down. The A site pretty easily secured, making the operators lose heaps of value. It's up to the rifles to try and spray through and find some chip damage. There's another shot. Rings true, but it goes wide. Now, the pings, the shots, the ultimates, it's all being used, but there's just nothing to be found. Kempeki finds the first, creeping on through, looking for more, able to find it. Not a collateral, but it's still 2 kills, no less. The Shroud picks up 2 of his own. The resurrection, the numbers swing back in favor of what's going on. But they have to get into the pit. They have to find the Viper, and instead it's Pancakes, it's Gucci to look to get things done in a 2v2. Make it a 1v2 as Relic's the last one standing, running out of time. Information is there. But what can the Sova get done with 100 health? The pre-fire from Calm to close out another round for ez5.
9-1 now for this squad, and they just put on a masterclass of biding their time, of waiting things out and benefiting from it. Because Gucci puts up that pit, and then you have the likes of Pancakes just kind of peeking their way in and out, isolating these duels against WGO. That doesn't give them space to group up and form a conceded retake, so it really goes against them. And now this is practically a full reset on the economy. No operators, not even a rifle, it's just the sheriffs to work with. And ez5, their money is still not been touched. They are in business for the rest of this half, but the aggression is back out off that wall, running it down mid, and Shroud, great shot with the Marshall, but the res immediately cancels it out.
And Gucci able to find a frag. Decop taking an elevated position out towards mid on top of the barrier orb. Is going to be punished for it. That's 2 kills. The way of make it 3 kills, the way of ez5. And like you said, that resurrection, it should be a 3v2, but instead double the manpower. Well, now quadruple the manpower on the side of ez5. Rux cuts down 1, but only a Marshall in hand. There's an operator there. It's all about, can you get over to it safely? Able to use the movement to do so. Pancakes looking to swing, and well, just no way out. Even if you kill Pancakes there, 2 on the flank as ez5 net double digit.
Round before the switch.
We could be looking at an 11-1 half here. This is looking incredibly tough. Timmy really struggling to find some impact. I mean, it's not just him. This entire squad hasn't been able to find their moments. Yes, there's frags coming through, but for the most part, it's impactless. Because when it comes down to the wire, ez5 is just winning out in practically every single one of these post-plant scenarios. WGO, they've tried this fight through mid. They've tried the double up setup. Nothing is successful. I like the idea they're showing here with running it down A, trying to just take the fight directly to ez5, trying to control this pace, but best they can hope for is 210, but it could be that second because Hunter's Fury finds the spike.
And a great way to get things started. It's not necessarily running at them to find the frags, but because they ran at them at the beginning, it forced them back right into the Hunter's Fury. So good on Relics. Oh my goodness. Good on Gucci to find 2. Pancakes 1 across the map, and it started off so good for what's going on. But again, ez5, they reel it back in. They find ways to make plays. Sean looks to even the odds. Still a player down. Or what's going on as that spike looks to creep over towards that B site. It has been sniffed out. And Pancakes maybe in a tough spot. Relics pushing up. No, Pancakes finds the frag. Either way, leaving it all up to the Sage and Sean. And well, Kempeki has it dialed in here. Op shot lands true through the wall. 11-1 we go at the half. A long way to go for what's going on. We have to see if they get it done after a short break.
Let's go. Count that big bang. Hey.
Right back onto Breeze, a superhero landing. Get us into this one. ez5 up 11-1 at the half. And, well, if you're a fan of what's going on right now, you need to pray that this is an attacker-sided map.
Yeah, well, it would take something Herculean for them to pull this back into their control. Lots of delays, but we finally found our way into the second half of the game here. It's a pistol round, which really has the most weight of any pistol round ever for this What's Going On squad. You lose here, it's match point. You only have one round, then, well, it's pretty much over from that point forward. So lots riding on this one as ez5, their defensive side. We know how strong it can be, but who knows? Maybe What's Going On have something special ready to go here. So they have that Viper wall, as well as the spike postured out towards the A site.
And it's a 3-2 split, so a bit less defaulty. Nobody really getting any information out towards mid as the drone goes through. Relic looking to find something off the back end. A dink on the decop should be able to heal up, so no harm, no foul. A Shroud takes a bit of damage himself. Poison Cloud looking to slow things down for a second, but a couple of right clicks from Relic's able to find the first frag on the site. It's not opened up just yet as Campecchi trades it back, but here we go. It's red for two more. And in a 3v2 situation, What's Going On? Looking to find their way back into this one, looking to claw back into it as it's all up to the limping decop and the healthy Campecchi with Sheriff in hand. Slow orb goes through. Campecchi spots out one, not able to find the shot. The spike will go down, and it's all about the post plant here in this 3v2 situation. Almost a 2v2 as Shroud chipped away at 25 health remains.
Oh, nice from Timmy. Finds one. He's staying down. Decop still doable. As a heal will come up in a moment, but Shroud has found his way out of the sight. No snake bites to worry about, but the shots come through. Sean on the flank to shut it all down, and WGO making their way back up onto the board. I think ez5 maybe getting a little bit overzealous there with the aggression down mid. They found their way deep into spawn, but then they were just pinched.
Yeah, I mean, you have the rounds to do it. You're having a good time. You're playing against a good group of guys, so I think the mentality is probably pretty high for ez5. And I was wondering coming into this one, right? So for what's going on, this being their first showing in VCT as a team, and they're probably just doing it just to have some fun, to play something a bit more competitive outside of, you know, the competition that Ranked has. And ooh, okay, Shroud with the Guardian taking down Kempeki. After the long delays, I was wondering where the mentality would be at, if they're ready to just kind of, you know, get this one over with, or if they are going to still try and claw their way back in. And well, that's exactly the answer. They're looking to claw their way back in. It was a forced buy from ez5 for a few members with Marshals in hand, as Timmy goes up top, assumes the high ground, and leaves everything in the hands of Gucci in a 1v5 situation.
We've seen 11-1 comebacks before. You can never completely write a squad off. As Gucci try and deal out some damage here. This one on the rope. The no-scope. Oh. Wow. My Marshal doesn't quite work like that, but it's good for Gucci to dish out some damage. Timmy on the flank shuts it all down. Good to see Timmy feeling it in the second half, because I feel like he had a bit of a rougher start, but now WGO, they're hitting their shots, they're feeling good. But I think this is going to be the biggest test, because ez5, they did force up a little bit, but I imagine we'll still see them buy some strong rifles into this round, as it is just going to be the bonus out of WGO.
And I wonder what that buy looks like. Okay, so yeah, so because of that force, it's pretty rough. WGO should be able to walk away with this one. It's essentially the same thing. Two Guardians to worry about, or excuse me, two Marshals to worry about in the bonus. This would, I mean, this would sting if you lose here in this one. Pancakes is able to make it hurt for one already, as Sean taken off the board. That's heaps of utility, and Relic's gonna follow suit. Two players down nice and early. Gives a one-man lead to ez5. And again, this should not be happening. They do not have the weapons to do this.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be able to force up a couple rifles, but they had invested enough last round that it was only going to be the Marshals here. Doesn't matter regardless. They found their impact still. Very winnable here for the squad of WGO. They have a Bulldog for Lassie. They have the Guardian up for Shroud as well, so they have the weaponry to work with. And with Timmy, 2 off of his Bladestorm, that could find impact. Kempeki, though, be the one to hold the line here if A is the final destination, and that's looking likely, because they still have this Viper's Wall to work with. However, look at ez5. They've already cleared through halls, down mid. They know what's going on.
They know exactly what is going on, and now the Marshal spots out all three as Kempeki backs away, armorless. Tom now on the flank, and I mean, like a ninja, silent with the frenzy. Picks up the first, makes it, say, 2-player advantage for just a moment. As Decom tries to find something with the Sheriff from across the site. The Marshals ringing as well. I mean, you just have to be careful not to peek your grape out a bit too much, or it surely will be found, just as we saw Decops. There's Timmy, 4 on the round, looking for more with 20 health. Gucci. Now the last one standing again, but a much more doable situation. A Poison Cloud to play with. Well, with that spike down, shot gonna land on a team that's the 20 HP Jet. Now it's only 56 health, separating the Viper from death. The Marshal shot gonna find the body, and Lasky will fall. Gucci to get it done.
No way Gucci pulls that off. It was just a force buy to start things off, but WGO in the 2v1, they swing a bit too far forward, commit to those duels, and well, Gucci, he's one to capitalize. Chris shots with the Marshal, and this is absolutely the worst case scenario. A thrifty round to be found. Match point ez5. Now it'll be that 9-round deficit to try and claw their way back from, and I do think that they'll have some money to work with in this one, but that's just not the situation you want to see. That was the chance for WGO to find their way back into this game.
And I think both teams should be able to buy, right? It was ez5 forcing up a little bit to buy in the next round. It was WGO bonusing. But obviously, for what's going on, you want to be able to buy after winning that round. Yeah. You want to... This round ideally wouldn't be the round that ends the game. You could still be looking at 11, and it would be 11-4. But unfortunately, that is not the case, as the knives are popped here for Timmy. We'll see what value he can grab in this one. It was 4 kills in the last, and the Guardian that was picked up is going to fall. It's Sean to find that frag in that wall. Leaving that gap to sneak on through means, well, what's going on? Can also use that. Kempeki blinded for a second. The near sight from the Lear allows for safe passage onto the site. Now things are even. The raise is down on the side of what's going on. A 4v4 as that spike is planted. The walls are up and the players are looking to find their way towards the site. We've got a very late, there it is. Yeah, very late lurk from Relics to stop the one matched by Calm. As Timmy with the blades. Pancake's able to find a couple of kills, but traded back as Gucci looks to continue pushing forward. The clutch master in the last. Can't do it in this as Kempeki narrowly missing out on the shots there. Dashes inside the cloudburst with the shorty, hoping to get the value, and sometimes it's just unable to be found. 404. No shorty value found as Shroud closes things down on what's going on. Hang on.
Yeah, that they do. They were able to reinvest into that round, but they took a ton of damage at it. However, I thought just a nice quick execute was pretty strong towards that B site. They have that forward wall after running straight past the defensive-sided one. And that wall on the site, it really gives a lot of space to work with for someone playing that castle, because you don't have to worry about overswinging if you take that fight in towards main. I love some of the creative sage tech we have seen on this map, and as a result of that one, WGO, they're going to reset the money of ez5. ez5, we know they can be some demons with the lesser buy, but, I mean, WGO early on here, like, I love the amount of information they're garnering. They have, it's kind of a default out towards A, and they're holding down for this flank. That Jet with knives should be caught off guard, and Lasky, he'll deal the damage. Huge out of the Reyna.
The last couple of fights we saw Lasky in, unfortunately, didn't go his way, so nice to see that one picked up. The guiding light goes through. Calm eventually to fall. Everybody looking to go down here on the side of ez5. They had a bit of a force up in the likes of the pistols. They upgraded their decop. Maybe having some extra credits. Not getting any extra value, unfortunately. Leaving everything up to Pancakes, who has since been sniffed out on the flank, and, well, could get some value right here. Shroud only on 75 health. Lasky is going to swing, but a shot to the side of the head as the overheal comes through. Pancakes finds two, continues to overheal, but not going to find anything else. 12-5 the scoreline. WGO live to fight another round.
That they do. 5-12 now is what we are looking at, and I talked about it early on, but the flank watch was just great out of WGO. They knew that ez5 had to make the play there, so they deny it. Kempeki was really the danger man with that blade storm, and he was the first to fall. That really lost the teeth of this eco round for ez5, but now it's, again, quite dangerous because there's a buy up fully by ez5. They're still kind of generally playing the same default with the Viper in towards B, but it's actually an interesting Poison Cloud. A lot more passive, and that's because the pit will come out towards main. WGO was initially posturing here, but this might just change their mind.
You have the two mentalities, right? You try and push on through this one, especially if you can find a pinch, but early in the round, pretty undoable, especially with that barrier orb set up by Decop. Just corralling anybody either to go into the B site off the back end of the drone that spots nothing, or rotate all the way back and play through mid or A. There's no real way to push through elbow without giving up the information. It does sound like that wall has since been shot down, and it's Timmy waiting in the spawn, sniffs out the lurk, takes down Kempeki. Now you got a bit more breathing room for what's going on.
Right here.
That you do, but this pit still denies so much information, and Decop as well. He's on a push up mid. He's finding the knowledge that they're not postured whatsoever towards this mid side. He might even catch off the rotation, knocked down to 1 HP, still pulls it off. The jump away is caught off guard by Sean, and now that resurrection will come out. This is prompting Gucci to get aggro, but he gives away the game early on. Shroud on the backstab to shut it down. Seekers are forward. This is getting so awkward in mid. Pancakes needs a frag to dismiss away, but it doesn't quite happen. Now it's Calm alone, 1 versus 5. He's being held for the flash is good, but the wall bang's better.
And that was a nice shock dart. That was kind of, again, just one of those situations in a 1v5. Yeah, sure, maybe you look to send it. You look to go for the round win, but then you take some chip damage through the wall. You eat a shock dart from Relics, and now you're at 70 health, and you're thinking, oh, well, this gets a whole lot less doable. So a solid round there in response, and dealt with, I mean, near flawlessly because of the adversity that they saw at the beginning of the round. It was, you know, the wall to keep them locked in. It was the Viper's pit to stop them from pushing into B main, but I mean, what's going on? They didn't falter at all. They found a way to get through it. They eventually took the Viper down, and well, Breeze was their oyster at that point. They could go anywhere. And, well, now they have a chance to string another round together here as it's a lesser buy. It's 4 Sheriffs and a Marshal across the board for ez5.
Becky here with the Marshal. Yeah, of course he's going to hit that. Relic's taken care of. It's Sheriffs. It's a Marshal, but ez5 have done this before. Flash coming out from the defensive side. It'll glean some information that there's still WGO presence in towards main, but they're kind of edging an idea of another option. You see the Sage there in way of Sean pushing up towards B, trying to clear out any potential flanks. But ez5 have learned that on these eco rounds, flanking has already been read, so they're very much committed to just being tucked in on this site. And there's 4 players within a quick rotation of A, and WGO looks like they want to commit this. Comp's position could put an end to it.
Pesky wins out on that. Empress popped. Marshall still a problem, though. Konpeki dashes away. Gucci, the next to fall, so the controller taken off the board means no pesky Viper utility to worry about now on the side, especially because that toxic screen was cutting off your push. The spike eventually gonna get planted. Shroud flexing a few of them, a few fakes. Timmy finds another. Pancakes. Oh no, we've seen this before. Usually good for 2 in a situation like this. A weapon down, but Timmy just 2 heads up to find that frag. Leaves it all into the hands of Konpeki, who traded 1 kill. And needs 2 more. It's a very healthy Lasky and a full HP, full armor Shroud. Sheriff picked up, but the drop sound is heard. Lasky with the rotate. Lasky with the frag. And what's going on with their 7?
That nearly fell out of the hands of what's going on, because you got that early Marshall shot, and then ez5, they just held for a moment. Completely cut noise, didn't engage whatsoever, knew that they were just taking that gamble that it would be an A-side hit. Then towards the late round, you have the flank coming through from Pancakes. It was after WGO had already gone back to re-clear through spawns, so he was able to pick up that flank. If he gets 2 there, round could go the other direction, but to bail them on out, that pit was committed out of Shroud. 5 rounds away now from tying us up, but it's another shot for ez5 with the full weaponry. Timmy here. Oh, this timing. Pancakes is up past. And Z-Cop guns 1 down, a second as well, maybe 3. Pancakes going huge. Now they can just get right past this wall, or they can double dip, look for more aggression. It's left to Shroud. It's left to Lasky to save this game.
And ez5, they've had enough. They're done giving up the rounds as Alir goes through. Pancakes takes it down. Shroud, the last one standing, gonna go toe-to-toe. Viper v Viper. But Gucci out on top. 13-7. ez5 finally will close out Breeze.
I think that was the longest one map that we've ever seen that didn't go into overtime, but you gotta give some props to what's going on for starting to bring it back in that second half there, right? Like, I feel like their default on that attacking side was pretty strong. They knew when ez5 was gonna commit to those flanks, commit to those plays. They were able to quite easily shut those out, but for ez5, it was an 11-1 half, man. That's just something that is almost nearly impossible to bring it back from. However, it is a best of 3, so there is another chance for the boys of what's going on. That's gonna be map 2 straight up after this break.
Mango invited some of the CS:GO guys to see if they wanted to go to the casino with them, and I don't think anybody else went, but I decided to go. And I've never been to a casino before, and I definitely like Mango's an expert, so I knew I could trust him. I went to the ATM. I tried to pull out like $100, I think, but I pulled out like 300 euros accidentally. And then we proceeded to play blackjack, and yeah, I lost like everything within 20 minutes.
Your purchase could be free when you use your Credit Karma Visa debit card. Free groceries, free gas, or even a free TV. It's called Instant Karma, and you can only win it from Credit Karma Money. Open your account for free in the Credit Karma app. Credit Karma Money. Progress starts here.
Hopefully we're done with the delays. This is just a short time out to get the next map ready. But before we get there and before we talk about what we saw in the previous map, we want to give a huge shout out to one of our partners here in Zowie. Zowie's, they come with the exclusive technologies. Okay, we're getting the replays and the read. Here we go. Exclusive technology like dynamic accuracy and color vibrance. The monitors make it easy to track your enemies, control your weapon spray, and secure the site for your team. Just like, Mimi, we saw ez5 do, I feel like the entire time on Breeze.
Yeah, man, ez5, it may have been a long match, but I felt like it was almost fully in their favor. That first half of the map was just so strong, 11-1 at the end there, pulling things completely dominantly. And while they started to slip away a little bit in that second half off the piss around lost, like there were some moments for WGO, but ez5, it's like a half where unless you completely blunder, you're almost always going to come out on top. It was their map pick, so still definitely a chance for WGO, but ez5 just looking a class ahead in way of their coordination.
100%. And this is, I mean, I think this feels kind of like a show match. We've seen ez5 do one of those just recently, but it feels kind of like a show match because you're getting to see some of your favorite creators compete again against some strong teams that of ez5. Then you're also getting to see, you know, the difference. And, you know, you probably put you as a viewer probably put SHROUD at high on that list, or put Relics or Lasky high on those lists. And then you see when they play against a team ez5 that somebody might be writing off, you see just how strong it can be. Now, more importantly, that map number 1 was on Breeze, so it definitely in favor of ez5. We're moving on over to Haven, and I think this could be where we see what's going on feel a whole lot more comfortable, because we all know that Breeze is still making teams feel uncomfortable for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Haven is a map that's a lot easier to pug than something like ez5, right? You can just focus yourself on in on that default when you're on the attacker side, right? You can just play your default, wait for aggression to come, exact that site. For these players who've been playing games like Counter-Strike, like Apex for a long time, that just kind of understand just the basic mechanics, you can just focus in, get your own pick, and the team can just adjust off of that. Whereas I feel like something like Breeze, it's a very utility-centric map. You see a lot of crazy, interesting stuff with like Vipers and Sages, and it's not to say you're not going to see that out of ez5 here, but I feel like you can fall back on mechanics a little bit more in a map like this for a team that hasn't had the same amount of time to coordinate that ez5 has, but it's also a map where you can really dial in, where you can really get the creativity flowing. And while it's maybe not ez5's strongest map, it's still a good one for them. I think they're still the favorite to come into this, but so long as we can get things nice and clean through, I think WGO had like that moment where they were starting to feel it at the end of that game. If they can come in with that same energy, I think there's definitely a chance.
And so that game on Breeze, I think we've seen it most recently for certain teams. I want to say for Virtuosos, where we were talking about it last, but you know, if they just had a few more rounds to work with on their defense, that being for Virtuoso, now you kind of see the same thing happen here for what's going on. You give them a few more rounds as a whole for the attacking side, and maybe that game is a lot closer coming down to the end of it. But like you said, Haven, the next one, it's a bit more honest. It's a bit easier to use the map, to utilize everything, because we saw on Breeze what's going on. What was going on in mid? Absolutely nothing on their attacking side, as we kind of stumbled a little bit previously, but we want to give another huge shout out to Zowie and their monitors and what they are doing for the FPS scene. And one of the biggest things, we talk about the color vibrance, we talk about the dynamic accuracy. You guys can actually head on over or just look up what is Diac and get everything. And if you guys are paying attention during the breaks, more specifically, you're seeing some of the pros have their monitor settings actually up there for you guys. I know everybody wants the sense, everybody wants the crosshair, but now you get an extra step in that Zowie monitor. So please, 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 we encourage you guys to go check those out and upgrade your game to the next level for the most part, because it is. I was a non-believer when I went from 60 to 144, and now I can, if I think my monitor's broken if it accidentally goes back down to 60 hertz. So, and now it's through the roof. I'm kind of behind the curve on the 144. So.
Yeah, well, it's definitely awesome to see. I love seeing like all the players' individual stuff. Like when it was the Iceland Masters, getting to see like everyone's color accuracy, their color settings in the replays was really cool. But that's kind of besides the point. Of course, big shout out to Zowie. We're still just waiting to get the match underway. A little bit more technical difficulty, so we thank you guys so much for bearing with us. But I feel like if there was a standout for me on what's going on, it was Timmy. I feel like he was really starting to step things up in that second half. Maybe out of all the names, when I think about him, he was one of the players that I probably knew the least about, but he's looking really strong in the server right now, Tanner.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, one of the things that I didn't start doing until just recently, and I think what you get a lot of in playing other games like the Apex Legends, where Timmy comes from, is your tracking, right? You have really strong tracking of the enemy with your mouse, and that is not something that I used to aim train at all. And now I have since recently started, because it's usually about the flicks and kind of just holding the angle and playing things perfectly like that here in tactical shooters. But I think that really helps him be able to not only find spray downs, but the biggest thing, right, is that reset or the flicks with the operator, the movement with the operator, being able to follow it. I think that is, I thought it was going to be ability usage. That's why I was like, okay, Apex Legends player, here we go. We're going to get heaps of ability usage. They slap him on the jet, and he looked phenomenal. I also think that he played a bit more carefree. Maybe on the attacking side, that is where he was hoping to do a bit more, because the defense was a little lackluster from what's going on. But it seemed freeing for Timmy and the rest of the team to kind of just do whatever they wanted on the attacking side.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a strong look out of him. And I mean, the squad in general, I feel like they were picking it up. Like, I've watched some of Shroud's streams. We know that he does like to play the Viper from time to time. I feel like his utility usage was kind of on point. Some of his pits were really well timed to bail out a couple rounds. But we can stop talking about that. We got the splash coming on up. It's ez5. It's what's going on. Map 2 of a best of 3 here in the round of 64. If what's going on can't pull it back here on Haven, they'll be knocked on out of contention. And as we peek at the agent selection, I see Pancakes on the KO early on. We got to watch that at Summer Champs just recently, and it was really fun to take a peek at.
Yeah, this is, I wonder if we get it on the side of what's going on, right? We know that they've got some tactical shooter players in KO, although I am maybe not a fan of the flashes. The flashes work a bit more like some of the other games, like in Counter-Strike. You have the pop flash or the ability to do something like that. And this game being so lineup heavy, I would think we see those same style lineups come out with the flash drive from KO. I'm wondering if what's going on. They've got the background for it. Do they also bust out the KO? And maybe not, because Relics is actually looking to play Duelist here. So we'll have to see where everybody lands in this one. And we're still waiting on Decop and Gucci to lock in as well. I would think Controller, Gucci, probably the Omen. I think we've been seeing quite a bit of Omen for EZ5 over the Astra. Everybody's slow. I love the Phoenix. I love the Phoenix on this map. I'd be very, very happy to see Relics playing that one. And there it is. Boom. Phoenix on Haven. I love this.
There we go.
And
Gucci picking it into the smokes. Yeah, I think it's a strong comp for what's going on here. It's a classic, but I mentioned this ages back when we had agents like Febreze, but when you're a team who's just pugging it, play what you're comfortable with, right? Like, don't force people to play an agent just because they're meta. Do what you feel confident on, because that's the best road forward for EC5. Well, this is the comp they feel comfortable with. They've been playing it for a bit now. Solo Duelist for Kompeki, Calm on that Sentinel, no surprises there. And I really want to highlight Pancakes on this KO, because he has put in some time in the lab. He has the lineups for the retake, he has the lineups for the attacking side, and he can really find a lot of impact, especially I think when EZ5 switches to attack. It's going to be great, because there's a Cypher getting ran for what's going on. One well-placed knife, and that Sentinel's pretty much useless. He just turns into a walk-in gun. So it's really cool, the creative things EZ5 have pulled out with a composition like this.
Yeah, I will say the sites are quite large, and if you're putting stock into where the Cypher might be playing, right? The C site, you're really taking guesses to where you need to toss that knife, whether it be towards back sight or behind the box. That's kind of a 50-50 on that 0 point. B, you probably won't see the Cypher playing, or really anybody playing on the B site for the most part. And then on A, I guess, where's the most... I feel like maybe in Heaven is one of the most like heavily regarded positions for the solo anchor. So I do think we get some 0 point plays, and I do think that it can shut down that Cypher for sure, but it really does feel like a 50-50 across the board. And speaking of 0 points, well, we just got one, and it gave a bit of information over to the side of EZ5 on the defense, but not much to go off of, as well, all 5 are scattered across Haven here on the side of what's going on.
Yeah, that they are. This is kind of what we talked about in the pre-show for what's going on. When you're pugging it, just play that default. Keep things nice and simple. Keep things nice and slow. Work your map control. Try and find your individual duel. They're doing exactly that, but EZ5, they're playing well against it. It's a rather passive setup. It's because of that Cypher trip in towards B, the cam down C long. They're just going to play off the contact of that utility, and they might actually have a good read here, because a bit of contact drawn towards C and Garage has full rotations. 4 players are here in Prime.
A good read here. Now Kompeki in a tough spot here in the Stampede, but it doesn't matter. Slowly starts to back his teammate up, and as the spike goes down, it's all up to Relics. A curveball, 15 health, a dream, and 3 players to worry about. Make it 2 as the hot hands come through. Going to stop and push for a moment. Become Volk to grab the information, but already known as that shock dart chips away. 31 health from the previous 60. It's a Ghost and a Frenzy to worry about, both peeking here. There's no way out of this one for Relics. Poor Relics. 1 health, 10 seconds. This is EZ5's round, and there it is.
Yeah, will be converted there. EZ5 just had a really strong read on that. WGO was given some information over early. It caused for those rotations to be pulled, and then the utility was just looking strong. You had that paranoia come from long, but it was immediately followed up by a knife, so no more util could come out, and in that kind of chaos, EZ5 just winning out on the duels. Kompeki especially going huge, and Relic, his timing just got a little bit out of sync. Unfortunate round for WGO, as it will reset them just down onto the classics, but EZ5 feeling good as they have a strong buy up into the second.
Revealing area.
And again, it's just Relics to force up. We saw that on Breeze. I say force up, but by the upgraded pistol in the Frenzy. Everybody else sitting on the classics, so round 3 should be a decent one in terms of a buy for what's going on, but it's all about how much damage they can do here, and well, it doesn't look like a whole lot. 3 kills swing the way of EZ5, 2 remaining, and well, the best way to have your anti-eco go is in flawless fashion. That's going to make this bonus that much stronger. We're also seeing, again, Pancakes sitting on a pistol here tells me that they're looking to buy a full weapon into what should be the bonus, as that flawless round does find its way on through. No answer from what's going on here. 2 rounds in, and now we get to see them actually play the game.
Yeah, that we will. 2-0 on the scoreline here, but they will have the buys to come back through out of WGO. For EZ5, I doubt we'll see them get too aggressive in this one because they still have a very, very strong bonus buy. Pancakes has that rifle here. He is going to put a good bit of stock into it. But for WGO, I'd expect them to maybe pick up the pace just a tad because they are postured fairly heavily out towards the A site, but they might be rethinking that. Spike goes down onto the floor. They'll return to their more usual pace, and we see the impact of that knife, right? That Cam's job was to find that information of a possible push towards mid, but that 0 point denies that information, and the push actually is now forthcoming.
And it forces you to sacrifice your body, quite possibly, to get that information. That's exactly what we see Sean do, swinging out towards mid, and Timmy doing the same thing. Trigger discipline for Gucci, who's crept all the way up. They only spotted out Kompeki. They didn't spot out the Omen here as Timmy looks to get away. Oh no, 2 kills lined up. Gucci able to do it to him. Tosses out a dark cover. The curveball not going to find the flash, but on his own teammate. Pancakes will fall. Shroud able to find that frag. Relics finally able to turn things around. Now down to the last 2 or EZ5. It started good, but does it end good? Spike goes down. The pinch is there. Relics trying to find calm on the way out, and you got an Ares sitting right on top of the spike here. No, D-Cup actually going to back away. So they're going to opt in. No way. I mean, it just keeps looking better for EZ5. The spike goes down. They completely give up the positioning on it, and it forces to run it back out of Relics. Now in this 2v2 situation, sure, they have the spike in their hands, but what's going on? Invested so much at this point.
Yeah, and that smoke comes down. Will he respect the dark cover? That's the big question because no one's directly holding for it. D-Cup back to back with Shroud. No one knowing of the other's position. They're waiting on the contact from the Cypher up mid, but these players on WGO are so separated. Shroud is on his own on an island, and he gets cut down. Now it just has to be Relics in the clutch.
And no utility to work with. 100 health. Number 5 in the shield department, but buying lots of time thus far. It looks like they want to play a duo game. They'll line up for it, and Relics will knock them down. A 3K on the round, and the investment pays off. What's going on the board?
It's the Red Bull clutch, but really at what cost? They put everything into that round. It was a full buy-up in way of rifles. It was a run-it-back committed, and it was all off of a great piece of aggression from EZ5. That 0 point denied the camera. They managed to find their way deep in towards mid, and it was a trigger discipline from Gucci to get things going. And regardless of winning that round, money still looking a little bit tighter in this one. They're still set up for a slower default, but now they have to worry about Kompeki with an operator in his back pocket.
I think that is the most important thing, right? Is that was the bonus. And, well, you used your run it back and had 4 members die. So your next round coming into the full buy of EZ5, well, it's a bit lackluster. 3 Bulldogs, a Guardian, and that Phantom that Relic is able to hang on to. They do find a bit of chip damage early. Definitely makes things a bit more digestible for this squad. And Kompeki, I believe, still unnoticed with the operator. So that could be huge value here very soon, should what's going on and back to the A side. But it looks like possibly a C hit up inside the garage. Will take down the cam. Timmy in a tough spot, though. Can be shot through the wall. The dash away. Heads up play by the Jet to stay alive for moments longer. And again, we're stuck in the 5v5. It's play out towards mid. It's calm, low on HP, but still alive to keep things even.
This operator is still posted. Top of the box. Drone should clear out Kompeki, but he's sticking around, wants a shot, doesn't find it. And the tailwind used, now he's stuck in such a tight position, but manages to sneak away. It's a trade. Stays even, and Kompeki even double dipping. They have to get him out of short.
That op didn't get as much value as I was expecting. Now it finally does. ZZ5 flip the odds here. No, the shorty. Speaking of no value, the shorty just can't get it done, but it's just enough to put Sean down to 6 health in a 1v3 situation. It's only going to take a shock dart. A nice 3K from D-Cop on the round as EZ5 battle back.
Konpeki, I thought he was boomed there initially, right? Like, he takes the first shot, misses out on that one, and the dash puts him in a very rough position. The Cloudburst keeps him safe. He's able to re-exact, find another frag there, and dish out the damage. He bought enough time for his squad to make the rotate over. It allowed that to be a bit of a pinch, and it allows the success of ez5 to their third. WGO now. What will the change up be? Are they going to still commit to this very slow default, or are they going to try and change the pace? I like the default, but they need to claim a little bit more space with it. In the last one, they found their pressure towards mid, but they made the decision to end A without ever really clearing it out. So it ended in the information very early with ez5, and Konpeki's impact was able to shut it all down. And this one is a bit weirder. Just some pistols across the board. Relics has invested up into the Phantom to try and get something done, but look at Konpeki, up to the same exact shenanigans.
Yeah, and I mean, that is, just like you said, that's kind of where the play falls flat, right? You're not really gaining too much space. You're just playing across the map. Run it back, going to be used. Relics caught up in a trap wire and sent back. So I can see the play on the table with the weapon purchased. Unfortunately, doesn't get a whole lot done as Gucci picks up two. Timmy was able to find one on the side, but Pancake still holding it down. The classic. Find a couple, but now it's all down to Lasky, who, well, has since upgraded to a Spectre from one of the fallen foes. And D-Cop able to close things out once more. Sova v Sova. ez5, WGO, and a 4-1 lead.
Good attempt there on the quick exec. Run it back was committed, but Calm had a very strong Cypher setup there. Was able to shut things down nice and cleanly against the run it back, and then just continue to anchor his way into the backside. Now we get to see WGO with a bit better weaponry to work with. Still, two players kind of stuck on to this Bulldog. Relic's going to try and force himself into something of his own. I think they've identified that A site thus far has been Konpeki playing alone, but to capitalize off of that, it takes killing Konpeki, and it's something they haven't been able to do just yet. Cage allows for the cross, and Dart forces Konpeki a bit more passive, but he's still in a line to find a shot, shuts down Timmy, and dashes away. Now the rotates will come through.
And that's a terrible feeling that your Dart didn't get the ping that you were hoping for. SHROUD, the next one to fall, I believe, stuck the ultimate up in heaven inside the dark cover, and that's actually where the spike is as well. So a terrible spot now for what's going on. I can only imagine what the comms are like as they scramble to try and reclaim that position. Neural theft for the information as a fragment. To delay a push through the spawn for now. There's no way to get up into heaven without pushing through it. And well, you can't push through the two that are here as Lasky finally sit Gucci down, but now the last one standing in a 1v2, and well, Calm on the flank. We'll find another round for ez5.
How many rounds are we going to see Konpeki find an opener? Because he just keeps getting it done with this operator. He does it against really every team ez5 plays, and most struggle to find the solution. They have the tools in the back pocket to do it with, right? Like, they have that Phoenix of Relics. They have the Dart from the Sova, but you saw they were trying to invest that last time. They had the Cage forward for the cross that allows you to find a safer line. They had a flash through it. They had a Dart forward, but Konpeki just re-peaked once the utility was clear. And his confidence is something that is so hard to stifle. As again, WGO stuck into the pistols, trying to make this fight work towards mid, but look at that great early information off of the 0 point.
It's just about everybody with the upgraded pistols here for what's going on, and we'll see what value they're able to scrounge together. Timmy with the knives makes things, again, feel a bit more doable for the side of what's going on. SHROUD takes down the cam. Pancake's able to spray down too, but the trade kill is there. It's a weapon retrieved as well, but the paranoia to back SHROUD away. He lives for now, but for how much longer? Shots traded back through the wall. End in SHROUD's demise as Gucci picks up the return frag, leaving it all up to Relics. And we've seen this story before. As a 1v3, was able to find 1 of 3, but how much more? Jock Dart goes through the dodge away, op shot, not gonna land. Shorty looking to get up close and personal, but the curveball, oh my goodness, Konpeki does it to him. 6-1 the scoreline for ez5, and I mean, it seems this is a very tall mountain to climb here for what's going on thus far.
Yeah, and it's a map that's generally attacker-sided. I know they're a pug, but I'd still love to see attack timeout called, because it's not just the strategic advantage of trying to think through your next idea. It's also just a chance to ice it out a little bit. Force Konpeki to take a deep breath. Force ez5 to slow their game down and have to recompose for a moment. But at the same time, how much impact can that find? Because we saw after like a half-hour tech pause, ez5 went right back in, still feeling warm, still feeling right and ready to go. And well, there's nothing called in this one. It's another shot. The guns for WTO, and found good space towards mid. Gucci chipped away and will fall at the hands of Timmy. Now they have an opening pick and lots of space to work with.
And so we see an early pick here for what's going on, but it's going to be all about what they can do with it. Pancakes able to kind of retrieve some of that space with the KO utility. Timmy needs to be careful. Very low on health and no way to heal up for the Jet this time around. So 6 health. It's enough to deter them from hitting that B side as the spray was coming through. No command goes out. Pop flash on top of it, and a beautiful flash. The neural theft. Oh no, not the neural theft. Excuse me. It was the trap wire that actually grabbed the information. It slows things down for just a second. But Pancakes, the spot to be resurrected. D-Cop not going to be the player to do that. Oh, Sean goes deep though. Shuts down the knives of Konpeki and didn't take a timeout. Maybe eventually got back in that win column.
Yeah, that they will. It's 2-6 now in the score line, and I like the attempt there from ez5 with the null command. You see it pop towards the back lines, and normally this is something that can cancel out a push, but the thing is, it was just a bit too late. They were already deep in towards the site, and they were just forced to take those aim duels, which went perfectly well for them. Sean in the end there with the lurk, I believe back through Garage, was able to shut everything down up against Konpeki on his Blade Storm. It's a round, but it's not really damaging to ez5's economy. They're going to have to continue to build here if they want to push him onto an eco. Dart's good, does get broken. Konpeki still anchoring towards long. The drone not heading his direction, so they may be blissfully unaware. Now they have to know, because Konpeki dies to Shroud. This is something that they have not been able to pull off for so many rounds, and now Shroud's done it, but D-Cop immediately trades back onto Sean.
Immediately answers back there. So all of the ground you gained by taking away that operator is just stolen right back. And ez5 has just done such a good job of it as Pancakes to lock down the B side all by himself, and it's D-Cop to avenge his fallen foe in Konpeki. A 3K on the round to push ez5 to 7.
It really looked like it was going to be a strong start, right? Konpeki dies towards long, the operator taken off the table, but then the sewers fight just goes absolutely huge. Sean caught with the utility in hand. You saw that Pancakes also had that 0 point coming in right at the same time, so it was a bit of a combination between them. It meant that no utility could be used. There wasn't a paranoia to fight back in, so they just had to take the raw duels against D-Cop. They just were not able to come out on top of them. Again, PGO kind of in a spot where they're choosing, do we force into this, do we save? They make the commitment to force. Timmy is 3 off his blade, so unless he's really farming, it'll be tough to get him online. But Konpeki, now they're off, and they trust him here, right? He can solely anchor down A. That allows a really heavy lean in towards Garage, in towards B. It is the retake setup more so towards C, but as long as you hold that Garage control, those C retakes are super strong. Ooh.
Timmy and some early chip damage onto Calm. And I mean, so we really saw the duality of the 2 rounds, right? It was an early pick from Timmy previously, and what's going on was able to capitalize. Then in that last round, Shroud found the pick on the Konpeki. They couldn't capitalize. They move a bit too quick, and D-Cop is there to answer. And I think, you know, once you get that early frag, had Calm died here in this one, maybe you take a step back, right? And you know the numbers are dwindled. You know the operator in that last round would have been taken away. Now Relics gonna get something started, but right into the trap wire, right back into the ultimate from where he came. Oh, the swing from Garage is there. The pop flash as well. Now D-Cop queues up the Hunter's Fury and continues to find value. Excuse me, the neural theft to go through, and well, unfortunately Calm paid for it with his life, but it's only 40 health on the Cypher. Now in a 1v2 situation, it's Relics. Low on armor, make it no on armor, no on HP as Gucci comes swinging around the back end of a paranoia. ez5 will find another round.
I mean, it's what we talked about early on, in that C retake out of EZ5 is so strong, and that's because they're running a comp that's perfect for it. They have the double initiator, they have the Omen paranoias, and in that one we saw Flash comes forward out of the Omen. They have the information off of the dart, they have a shock dart going in. It was just so perfectly executed. The Hunter's Fury early on as well to find Shroud was huge, just forced them to try and work their way back in. And I mean, in that wide replay, you can see the coordination. The second there's a swing towards default, it's Konpeki up and over the top. It's just the difference right now between a team that plays together a ton and a team that maybe this is their first time as this specific 5 in a competitive setting.
And another tough buy. This time, though, the drone is able to spot the operator before that shot lands on a player. They've got the information. What can they do with it? A Shroud sends some rounds down range. Not going to find much towards that B site as it's looking like retake the name of the game there. But, I mean, if you're EZ5, you're probably not too worried, obviously, about the arsenal in this round. But there hasn't been a whole lot of presence on B outside of a bit earlier in the game in that last round where it was just to run it back to maybe buy a fake, maybe buy some rotations. He's been pretty vacant for the most part from what's going on. So just put your players on A and C. You have somebody floating in between like we see Gucci doing. And, well, time ticking down. What's going on? Gonna have to make a play, and it looks like A here with 40 seconds.
That seems to be the decision. Shock darts here ready for D. Got so much
Oh,
damage
man.
dealt off of one piece of utility. Konpeki still in the back lines, finds one. But the operator now over to the shorty, ready to fight for more. Relics picks up one, but all the frags are up for EZ5. Gucci closes things out with the 3K. And this defensive squad pulls their way on to 9. They just seem to know exactly where WGO is going to execute before they even fully commit. The information game is just being won in such a huge way, and it means these executions, they're just never finding teeth.
Nothing at all, right? It goes back to that point of even when you're defaulting, needing to get some kind of space, right? When you just allow, that's a pistol round, so sure, maybe it just goes that way no matter what, but when you're all stacked up towards one portion of the site and you're not making any noise, or excuse me, the map, and you're not making any noise anywhere else, it's a pretty easy read that, okay, they're not here. You see Relics this time around, though, going to kick things off. We've seen how these rounds play out. It's all based off of what they can do right here off of that pick. Do they continue to push forward or not? As Relics comes through, nice turn away from the flash, but NK's gonna fall either way. Sean Huck's on the board. Neural Stack's gonna get the information, but it's just a second too late. Gucci able to find some value in sending that ultimate back. But all 5 still alive as Shroud takes some damage. A shock dart right on top takes him down to 18 health, and it's all up to D-Cop. He's held down the site before. Can he do it again? No, only good for 1. Giving it all up to Gucci, who has since rotated over from that C site. A couple members wounded on the side of what's going on as the cam goes through. Gucci looking to play on the opposite side of it. Catches a Cypher on the inside. Sean goes down. Shroud still playing up towards heaven, but low health. Lasky able to toss out the shock dart. Doesn't land. Now looking to play around. 3 players are too many to worry about. 9-3 we go at the half. EZ5 looking to close things out after a short break.
I'm in the dark going crazy. I'm in the dark, that's how life been lately. In the dark, 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 in the dark.
And here we go. Half number 2, map number 2. ez5 ahead. Not only 1 map to 0, but 9 to 3 on what could be the last map between ez5 and what's going on here in the round of 64. And also could be the last map of the day. We'll see if what's going on. They were stronger on attack on Breeze, Mimi. We'll see if they're stronger on defense here in Haven.
Yeah, we will have to get that underway. ez5 here on the attacker's side. The default spread early on. That knife towards A long you see on the map is actually pretty cool because it extends deep into sewers without you having to really expose yourself, but doesn't glean any information. And well, that makes them realize that maybe no one's tucked in towards sewers. It could be misinformation though, because Relics has picked up this line in position to get something done. Hot hands to keep himself safe, but just look at the cocktail of utility getting hounded down on him. Flash goes to the right. He tries to swing off it, but Pancakes cuts it down. Now Sean's in a tight spot, and he's cut down as well.
And I mean, it just feels like it all comes down to timing as a whole. Just the way that the entire series plays out here. Timmy's able to find one, still very healthy on the jet. Plays to take down the Bolt. Decop now just around the corner as the Paranoid comes through. The near sight will land, and Pancakes will find 3 here on the pistol round. It's double digits for ez5 as they look to close things out. But you see, so it's Relics a second too late on the peak, then tries to back away for the curveball, a shock or a hot hands, excuse me, then a curveball, then the shock dart, and all of it just meant nothing because ez5 just played perfectly off the back end of that. So it just feels, I guess, like the timing. Maybe it's just the numbers factor in that round there in the pistol round for him, but that was, what do you even do if you're Relics in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. There's no way to get out. I think you have to flash short. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I have seen some cool stuff where you bounce your flash the wrong way and it pops really quick, but there was smoke. No one actually got blinded by it, and ooh, look at that. Classic right clicks. Find some damage onto Konpeki, and that gun can be recovered. This gets a little bit more interesting.
So kind of the same play that we just saw, but different players. It's aggression down towards sewers. This time it was Sean to get it done, but then a dark cover right afterwards to allow Sean to get away, and most importantly with that weapon. So unfortunately the pistol round doesn't go their way, but what's going on? Not giving up just yet. Shroud still holding an angle, and this crosshair's gotten a whole lot bigger than the last time we saw it. I swear. Now Decop on the plant. I'm looking to go aggressive around the cage. Sean with the weapon that he retrieved, able to find 1 frag, so you know the return on investment is there, but Gucci still holding it down. It's the utility that starts to come online. Now it's all up to Lasky in this. He's completely caught out towards that C-Link area. Decop 2 kills on the round. ez5 getting closer and closer to closing this one out.
Yeah, a much better scenario there for WGO. They find that frag towards short, recover a weapon off of it, and nearly snowball it into their favor. But ez5, they're quick to readjust, right? They lose that man. They know that WGO's on the lesser weapon, so it's likely to over-rotate. So they commit in towards that B site, get the plant pretty scot-free, and are able to hold on in that 2 versus 1. And, well, as a result of that punishment in way of money, ez5 is reinvesting here. You got that Odin up for Decop, as well as those Spectres that were saved over previously. So we'll have to see how much they can get done, as WGO putting a lot of pressure here on mid with the spam through the wall, but no one really watching it. So ez5 claims that empty space.
And well, with the 0 point, it forces Shroud to play the gun battles, and he opts into that one as well. Finds the first frag. Now the spike down in a tough spot as Shroud finds the second. Has some utility to play with, and now it's all about buying the time. It's all about buying the space and taking it back. Now it's all up to Calm in a 1v5 situation. The spike is down, and a Spectre to work with the bonus, looking to swing the way, and it does, of what's going on in flawless fashion.
Yeah, good work out of what's going on there to keep that so incredibly clean, because like I mentioned, ez5, they put stock into that round. They invested a bit, so it's going to be weird for them in this next. They were just going for a quick execute there because they had the information that one was backside off of that KO knife, and Konpeki tries to swing for it, but there was never really any flashes. There was never too much utility in support of the play, and when it's a shooting gallery, that is what Shroud is strong at. The aim department just as good as it was in the past for this man. It's now 7-4. It's ez5 again, posturing their way up towards mid.
Decop had an Odin in the last round and Ares in this one, and this might just be, you know, whatever he could afford with the economy available, but I don't know. The LMGs here on Haven, we've seen a couple of them today. And they did work. Obviously, that first matchup, heavily one-sided. The quick beat take allows the spike to get planted with all 5 still remaining. And now all 5 for ez5 in pretty solid post-plant positions. We see 4 of them off the site, and one of them slowly starting to creep around. Konpeki looking to work on the flank. Should get spotted out. Now is able to jump over the trap wires. And Gucci finds one. Sean able to stop Pancakes from pushing forward. Paranoia for Paranoia, and the spike still going undefused. Comms able to find one. Konpeki gets value on the flank. There it is. It's all 3. The way of Konpeki at the end. 12-4. The scoreline is ez5 one step closer.
Yeah, normally on those retakes towards B, you want to be working some kind of flank. Put some pressure on the players playing for that utility in the back lines, but that never happened. Instead, ez5 is allowed to work the flanks of their own. One man up through garage, I believe that was Calm, as well as someone pressuring from A-Link. So it was a complete 3-way crunch on the players on site, and they were already blinded by the paranoia. It was just such a tough situation to work with, and it will find birth into match point. Weaponry is still here for WGO to work with in this one, but they really haven't found a solution for the mid direction thus far. This time they're trying a push of their own. Relics to attempt to claim this space, but Calm on the wide swing shuts it down. Sean does keep it even.
Yeah, 1 for 1 in both ciphers on very low health. And it's kind of almost directly even across the board, because you basically swap out your Phoenix for the KO. Now Sean, unfortunately, low on HP. No on HP. Does trade some damage onto Konpeki, so makes it tradable, but not just yet as that spike goes down. ez5 just about 40 seconds away from closing out this series against what's going on. A decop has the recon bolt queued up and ready to go to try and delay a push for now. Bit of information given as Gucci on the flank. Paranoia catches the eyesight just barely. Velasquez still able to find the frag, and unfortunately, the knives just go wide. It's the 18 health Cypher that we mentioned at the beginning of the take. Now to get it done, but unfortunately, they're not all lined up. 8 health separates Lasky from death as what's going on. Find another round.
Way too close for comfort there for what's going on. Almost losing out in that 3 versus 1, but they were finally able to thrive in that chaos. Spike comes down. ez5 never really had a chance to fully set up their post-plant positioning, and WGO was just working that crunch on forward. Still, it's going to be a fairly insurmountable streak of rounds, but there's always a possibility. There's always a chance. ez5, they've just got to keep doing what they're doing. Win these fights out towards mid, take their early duels, and just default off of that. But in the previous round, what was different was that they didn't cleanly win that mid fight, right? It stayed even. 2 versus 2, they were then forced to re-rotate towards A, and there was already a heavy presence there out of WGO. So, see what they get done in this one. It's very slow pace. Cam as reveal it's Timmy, but he'll fall back scot-free.
Gucci expecting a push here, holding C long. Not going to find anything just yet. Lasky with the drone. Getting some info. The players are out towards mid, but not many, and not a whole lot of info to follow off of that. Pancake's the only member on the lesser weaponry, but no command to try and push onto the side. That's all the KO bot is going to be used for here. Suppression bot. Calm the first to fall. Now pushing onto the side. Pancakes go down as well. Nice paranoia. That's Gucci a kill of their own. Pancakes still to be revived as Konpeki pushes onto the site and continues to find the frags. All up to Relics and Sean. Now Sean on 4 health. Excuse me. Stuck in a rough spot. 13-5 is where we see this one close. And ez5 get it done in 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, it was just really strong throughout ez5's run in this series. That Breeze game was just looking perfect out of them. They find an 11-1 in the first half, and it does slip away a little bit. They close it out, and here on Haven, it was really no different. The coordination showing through, the individual skill on these players showing through, and maybe you haven't heard of them before. Maybe you didn't know who ez5 was rolling up to this, but I think they're one of the free agent teams, one of the best free agent teams that everyone should be keeping their eye out for, because I think they're just going to keep pulling these impressive victories.
No, and this is one where, again, we didn't really know the mindset coming into this one. When you take a peek at that team that you're playing, sure, it's not a team that has all this competitive integrity behind it, but it's got some really strong names and some names that I would imagine if not every player in the scene, a lot of the players look up to. So maybe you are a little shaky. Maybe you are a little concerned coming into this. You're not too sure what to expect. But ez5, I mean, they just look calm, cool, and collected the entire time. Even through all of the pauses that kind of had us rattled a little bit here on the desk and on the side of production. So hats off to ez5. I think what this one showed heavily, you know, if you kind of take putting any team against ez5 in this one, whether it be what's going on or somebody else, it showed resilience.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. And I also love like the comps that ez5 plays, right? I think they bring out some creative stuff. We've seen KO a little bit throughout today. We saw that in our first series, but I thought they were really utilizing him perfectly. Like the impact that Pancakes found on that agent in that second game of Haven was just huge. The amount of space they garnered with that double initiator comp was fantastic. ez5, they're just always gonna stick around. They're always gonna be grinding, and I love that they stuck with this roster for a bit, right? Like they had some tough moments at the beginning, but then it started to go forward. They won those 2 Nerd Street events. Now they're trying to make this run at VCT, and looking at the bracket, I think there's a real chance that they could make it to close. Like I think there's definitely an opportunity for this team to make their way on in. I think it would be considered an upset, but I don't know. It's crazy. One more thing is just like, you're an org, ez5. They're open right now, guys. Like these guys are insane. Someone pick them up before it's too late.
And that's actually one of the questions that I have, and I should be able to answer it or get it answered here, as we've got Gucci on the line with us for the Verizon post-match interview. Gucci, you got us. Can you hear us fine?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, sweet, man. Well, first and foremost, congratulations. I want to get not necessarily a how are you feeling kind of question, because I think that's the easy one, but what was the mindset coming into this one when you take a peek at that team? And speculation, obviously, but it's got some names that quite possibly some players on your team look up to as competitive, I guess, Valorant players.
Yeah, so I mean, going into the day, I mean, just take it match by match, right? Treat every match like it's a match. Obviously, take it round by round. Just no matter who we're playing against. Obviously, a lot of big names we were playing against. Great players all around the board. It's a big pleasure playing against them. But yeah, pretty much just taking it round by round. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, it looked really good out of you guys. A pretty dominant series win there with the 2-0. I wanted to ask you guys a little bit about your agent compositions, because it's something that you guys have kind of changed around throughout a lot of the events that you're playing in. And one of which is bringing in the KO. We talked to Iron from the Sonics earlier about it. How do you think he's slotting in, first of all, with your team and just kind of in general for this game?
I think KO in general, I think it's a really good addition by Riot, because a lot of the times just like you get utility dumped and you really can't do anything. But with KO, you can kind of just like cancel that out, and people can't use utility, obviously. So they're like, you're actually forced to take the gunfights. And I also think that slots very well with us, because like on an execute, like you can easily get an execute canceled if like you're executing a lot of utility on you, can't do much. But with KO, it kind of just like counteracts that, and you're able to just go into the site. Say there's like a killjoy on site, you can literally just throw your knife at her. She can't do anything. She has to like pull out her gun and fight herself instead of using her turret and her mollies, right? So it's like, I think it's a really good addition.
And so to kind of take a step back from and talk about a map that you don't see much, KO, Breeze is a map that we've seen ez5 play a whole bunch. You guys just had a 40-round game on it the other day. What is it about that map? Is it kind of just like, hey, let's learn this map because it's brand new and teams aren't going to be ready on it? Or what is it about Breeze that is so drawing to ez5?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like drawing to us, but I mean, we just want to have like a good map pool, right? So play and practice every map. Breeze is one of the maps we practice, just like pretty much every other map. I mean, Breeze is like, I don't know, it's a lot of like aim duels, but it's also a lot of there's actually like a lot of tactical things behind it as well. So it's like, it's not just raw aim, but there's like a lot of strategy that goes into it as well.
And then I have kind of a twofer for you to close it out. First of all, what's it been like integrating Comm into this team? Because you guys were initially playing with, I think it was Corsonics for a while. Now you've brought Comm into the squad. How's that working out for you now that you have this specific core 5? And I kind of want to add on to that with the general team dynamic. Stan, previously a player with the old ez5 roster, now swapping into coaching. What's the dynamic like overall for your squad?
Overall, I think we all vibe together very well. Comm was a great addition. He fit in perfectly. Stan, he's like the father figure kind of the team. Old man Stan, he's like you know, he's keeps us on track, things like that. But yeah, Comm fit in very well. His play style, his vibes all around the board, just like immaculate, honestly. Yeah, just team's just a vibe, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Well, it clearly showed. And before we do let you go, I just want to give you a second. While you've got this platform, I know you guys are still free agents. Is there anything you want to say while you have this moment?
Just look out for ez5. We're still a free agent team, so you know, any organizations interested could, you know. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, look out for ez5. We're going to Berlin.
All right. Well, a lot of confidence coming out. You guys were fantastic. We definitely wish you the best of luck in the rest of your VCT run. And big thanks for joining us, Gucci.
Thank you guys so much.
Good vibes all around. Not only in ez5, but in the Verizon post-match interview. That one, it just sounds like everything is clicking, right? And that's when things start to really work well, especially when you have some changes like you kind of stated in that interview. Players to coaches, new players coming in. So there it is, ez5. They're still an unsigned team. I don't know. I can't imagine. I can't believe. Yeah, I cannot believe that they are still an unsigned team. Now, unfortunately, we're done with series on the day, but we're not done with the content just yet. We do have our AIM Lab flick of the day. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this one, because I guess we kind of have like a back and forth on what it is. I believe it is going to be Dizzy here with the 4K and the Marshall and the stolen ace that quite possibly made Dizzy steal somebody else's ace in the next game.
Yeah, I mean, Dizzy Life, this guy is just absolutely wild. He has always looked good, be it on the jet, be it him flexing to another agent. And I mean, this is why he's such a good opper, because he's just got the raw mechanics. He's got a good register on the jet utility. And I mean, just congrats to the Sonics on their victory, and congrats to Dizzy on that AIM Lab flick of the day, of course, presented by our friends over at AIM Labs.
So now that we are kind of concluding on the day, we got to take a peek at what we saw here. So ez5, they move on to the round of 32, which will be happening tomorrow along to the round of 16. At Sonic's team, they went 4-0 on the day. And if you guys haven't been on Twitter just yet, you'll probably see all the rest of the posts about the teams that are, I guess, 4-0 on the day. But just scrolling down real quickly through the bracket, FaZe Clan has made it through to tomorrow. Immortals as well. Last round save. And Box, that was an early one. TSM managed to get it done. Renegades went 2-0 over Shopify Rebellion. And as I make it down, Complexity still hanging out. Luminosity and NRG. So no big upsets, I don't think, just yet. Evil Geniuses is still playing against Lazarus. They're 1-1. So I think that could quite possibly be one of the biggest upsets that we would see in the bracket thus far.
I think they did make it. I think, okay. I don't know if you're looking at VLR or what, but for me, it did update. EG's through to face Cole. That's a good outcome for EG, because they've really been struggling to find their impact. They'll find it in. Goodfellas versus C9 Blue should be another interesting one. Trying to see. I don't think there was any other huge upsets today. So congrats to all the teams who have made it through. And of course, big thanks to the teams that were on stream for just making it a fun show.
Making it a fun show. And with that, unfortunately, we do have to bid adieu, but we've got more action all weekend. We're trying to get down